life, but perhaps I can give you justice in the name of our king.
Hey, and welcome back to the podcast that drinks and knows things. I am Luke, and we are here recording on October 7th of 2022.
Right.
Covering, as Glenn would say, season 1 of episode 7, House of the Dragon, Driftmark. I am joined in studio, as always, by the worst person I know in the whole world, Glenn of House
I
Dog.
thought you were going to say happy damn it.
I thought it was me too.
It's a good tie. It's a big
okay.
tie.
I am doing good. I'm
October 7th of 20.
Oh, geez, sorry. Just kidding. That's me.
Wow.
Right.
Okay. Glenn,
Whoopsie doodles.
welcome back. What are you drinking, my friend?
I got a, what's it called, Zwickle?
A Zwickle from Urban Chestnut Brewing Company, I believe. There you go. And what's on deck there as well? We'll probably talk about it here soon, but Squints by Main and Mill Brewing Company.
Haven't tried that one yet.
Haven't tried it yet. Also joined in studio by St. Louis Blues fan Abby Hogan,
Hello, hello.
also known as Gertie of House God Ascension.
That's right.
I got a blue shirt on too.
I have that shirt. It's a good shirt. How are you doing tonight?
I'm really good.
What are you drinking besides a steak and shake
Well,
chili cup?
I do have chili. Yum. And I have a burger. I'll try to eat those covertly over here.
But not covidly.
I don't know what that means, so probably not.
I don't know how to
Like
eat this.
comorbidly is also kind of.
COVID-19 is that
I
That's
believe
the
I have a
joke, yeah.
Squints beer that was just handed to me, and I will be making some Jameson and Cokes.
Okay. Joining us via the interwebs, Sly, House
Howdy.
McLean. How are you, bud?
I'm all right.
And I think
I got my normal October voice going right now.
Oh, you've got the atmospheric voice going.
Right. Yeah.
But he has a fantastic shirt on.
like a Randy
He
Poplar.
does have a great shirt. And there are some people in the chat that might have been there when those shirts were unveiled. I know Mackenzie saw those shirts live.
Yes. Yeah.
So welcome, chat. Thank you all for being here. Benji, what are you drinking? I think you have a theme drink for tonight.
I do have a themed drink. It is from Trader. It is a Trader Joe's rye bourbon.
Sounds good.
But in honor of the true Green Queen, her sourness that she showed tonight, I am pouring her one good whiskey sour on the rocks here. And let's see, did I measure it right? Oh
Oh boy.
perfect.
Oh man, look at
So
that.
got-
You don't need to worry about the meniscus on that.
Classic.
That's just a clean pour right there.
very sour, just like good Queen Alicent.
Sour Queen Alicent. And I am currently drinking a Citywide Pale Ale from Four Hands, which is a great beer in my Melvin Brewing koozie. And I also have a Squints.
Is that what it's
On
called?
deck.
Is it called
It's
Squints?
called Squints.
It's cool.
Okay.
It's a cool beer. It's
Yeah.
a cool can.
Is it the
Benji.
picture of the
Is it-
kid from
So
I know Squints. It's Squints.
Yeah.
It's Squints from
it's
yeah, that's-
Sandlot. It's a Sandlot
Thank you.
themed beer. There's
Nice.
There's Squints. It says forever on it. And there's also
Nice.
Wendy Peppercorn, as you can see.
Okay.
She
There's
got
Squints
glasses.
right there.
Actually, I went to high school with the guy.
Weenie.
It also says L7 Weenie on it. And there's another Wendy Peppercorn, as there should be. There should always be two Wendy Peppercorns in your life.
I went to
Peppercorn.
high school with the guy who, I guess, drew all this.
Is
Did
that-
you? Yeah. Who was
Nice.
it? Who was the artist?
Jordan Moeller.
There you go. Nice.
Very
Not the
was-
same guy that did the Jake Allen mask,
No,
but
Ryan.
Jordan Mullen, huh? Cool. That's awesome. I didn't know
was
that.
just gonna mention like drawing beer cans has become a real cool profession that I'm like very interested in, and I'm not sure if it's this guy or not, but somebody really does have like the market cornered on it. I just find it very fascinating. It's like the new age window drawing for like car dealerships
Oh,
or
really?
stuff.
certainly, yeah.
You know, I
Third-
love it.
Luke, shout out to Third Wheel Brewing. They have some of the best can art, bottle art. that
They
I've seen.
do. Yeah, they have some really cool stuff. And as we open our brewery, side note, we're gonna have some cool stuff too. Hopefully,
Well,
we'll do our
it's-
best.
Don't judge a beer by the art, but
So if you're
sometimes
good
it
at
looks cool.
Hey,
drawing,
If it looks cool, people will buy it more. Let's
Probably.
be honest. Don't judge a beer by its can, but buy it for its can sometimes.
Yeah.
Um,
Aesthetics.
okay.
all right. So, if this is your first time here on any of the Drawbridge Media shows, we really appreciate you being here. Like, for real. Thank you for being here. We hope you hit that subscribe button. We hope you give us a like. Tell all of your friends about the ridiculousness that we go through to put on whatever you want to call this. If it's not your first time show, thanks for coming back. We haven't scared you away. So, why? What's going on right now?
I don't know. I love it though.
But we really appreciate you being back here. Hit that like button. Tell all of your friends again,
And steal their phones.
and steal their phones and sign in and subscribe on their phones as well. But thanks for being here. This show and all of the shows at thepodcastthat.com and Drawbridge Media are all supported by the wonderful Imaginary Legion patron. You can learn more about how to become an Imaginary Legion patron at patreon.com/stayimaginary. To get more into this episode, it was 58 minutes long, a bit shorter than some of the other ones.
Well, it's shorter than the last
Yeah.
one for sure. 'Cause I think
Yeah.
The last one was the longest one. And
The longest one we've seen in this in this season. And it aired on October 2nd, 2022. Also directed by Miguel Sapochnik, writer Kevin Lau. First time I think we've seen his name. Am I wrong on
Little
that?
Kev Dog.
Little Kev Dog. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
remember seeing it, but
at least his head writer. That's the
No,
first time.
I think the theme I've noticed different writers for pretty much every episode. I think
yeah, has it been? I haven't been keeping track
For the
as well
most
as I'd
part,
like
yeah. I
to,
think
but
last time was Sarah Hess or something like that,
yeah.
and then there's been other people.
That's good though. I think it keeps it fresh and they can all stay on task. So there's that. Abby, can you tell us this episode description from
I
HBO?
sure can. As the families gather on Driftmark for a funeral, Viserys calls for an end to infighting, and Alicent demands justice.
See if any of that happens.
Right.
Let's just judge it by its
50-50.
merits. Glenn, can you take us through the credits?
The credit scene, we have top billed as Patty, Matt, Olivia, Emma, and Reese.
So we've stuck with a bunch of, if you want to call it, all being top bill, right? Like that's something they've definitely made a choice to be.
I think the only change from last week, they had Fabian in there as well. This time, Sans Fabian.
Sans Fabian.
Yeah.
You know, hey, here's to Sans Fabian. There's that.
There's that.
Who is that?
Kristen fucking Coleslaw.
Coleslaw.
He doesn't deserve
Yeah, he
Billet.
doesn't. I only get like,
Fuck.
a, like
I'm
I was
just
like,
kidding. He does as an actor, but
I don't know if he does it as an
Yeah,
actor.
whatever.
The top build.
I mean,
giveth,
he's
the
there.
top build taketh away.
is Graham McTavish there?
No.
He's in the
He's
second
always-
billing.
he's
He's
always-
always he's
Cole
always
was in the first. Nah. Okay, whatever. I'm not gonna be dogging on somebody's
I think. Well, this
monetary
last
consumption.
for the longest time it was just Patty, Matt, and Reese.
right.
I
It was
believe.
just the three, which is. Can you name them?
Patty, Matt, and Reese.
Can you name which characters those are?
Viserys. Is it Allison? No.
Nope.
Matt is Damien.
Yep.
Reese.
Damon.
Sorry.
okay.
It's Damien. That's how it's spelled phonetically.
It's not really.
I know. Damon. And Reese makes me think of like Ray Knees because Benji loves that knees thing. But
It's OVH.
oh really?
Yep. Otto von Hightower.
He's like low-key hot old guy. Sorry.
Hey, low-key important old
Like
guy.
I mean like he's
so Luke, I want to point out something. I was going to bring this up because
Yeah.
you mentioned it in the chat. This was the first episode they filmed. So they filmed the season out of order, and they
Yes.
did this one first. And so, like in that opening scene of the wake, the reception, whatever you want to call it, was really what they shot.
The very
first.
first
wait, wait, wait.
scene that they recorded.
So-
yep.
Yeah,
Did Aemon get like an eye transplant for the?
Yeah, they
the
they
other-
retroactively did that. They put his eye back in for the earlier scene.
Did they have
that
a
we
stunt
saw.
double that just got stabbed in the eye?
That's what it was. They actually took that young kid's eye out. Is what happened.
Ah,
dedication matters.
Hey,
Okay.
yep.
I'm here for the reality of it. So
you can always be typecasted now. The one-eyed kid. Yeah.
yeah, Aim in one eye. And whenever we were talking last week with Mr. Narrow C himself, and he was getting the names wrong between Aegon and Aemond, I was like, I'm highly confident I know which one's the secondborn because the secondborn gets a very specific nickname that luckily we got it typecasted in this episode. So we'll come back to that as we go. There are children walking on the stairs. We're going to deal with that here in a second. But let's go ahead and Glendale, can you take us into the first set of scenes, please?
Yeah, absolutely. At Driftmark, many gather mourning the loss of Lena Valerian, who was put to rest at the bottom of the sea. Afterwards, small talk takes center stage. At sunset, Lena is away from the congregation. Viz and Damon catch up on lost time. Damon runs into OVH on the way out. The king departs to rest for the night.
Benj, take us away here, please.
Yeah, take us away, Aaron. So
Take it
our
away,
blood runs
Aaron.
thick. Our blood runs thick and shouldn't be thinned. Gets a chuckle from Damon. You know, it was a good funeral scene. I loved. I don't know Laenor's brother or
I
cousin.
think
Whoever
it's like
the one called
Famond or something like that.
Famond, with
Like
a
the guy
TH
doing
or
the
something.
quote unquote eulogy or whatever it is.
Yeah,
And at one point he says brother to him. That's who we're speaking about.
Oh, we're talking about Uncle.
Is it his
Corlys's brother.
brother?
that's
But
Corlys.
I think it's like Vamond. Is it not
Okay.
Vamond? Or...
Yeah. Yeah.
Damon. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, and but like he makes that line. He's like, "Looking at you, bitch." You know, kind of straight up to Rhaenyra and everything. And it was an interesting funeral scene. It's neat to see the different dynamics of the way people mourn. Like you get the North who burn their bodies. You get the same with on the East Coast, the Greyjoys do the burial at sea very normally. And I noticed the line, "We were born from the sea and we are returned to it." It's a same thing the Greyjoys say.
Right. You get
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
You get the
Yeah.
Tullys who like have somebody miss the try to burn the ship as it floats down the river, but he keeps missing.
That's Abby's homeboy right there.
Very Tully.
That's Abby's homeboy right there.
Tovis.
Tobis
Menez or Menez.
Menzies.
Whatever. Yeah, menstrual
Menzies.
cycle.
Menendez.
Right.
He's a
Yeah.
great guy. Great human, I'm sure.
I'm sure he's a good guy.
I'm sure he's
If you had a
wonderful.
chance to meet him in real life,
I would probably be like, I am trying to not be a right now to you, but I hate you. So thank you.
you did a good job.
Like, you did a great job. I really dislike you.
I
Hate
do,
is a strong
You
word.
did a bad job.
but I
But I
really
don't like you.
I think they did a pretty good job of selling this scene of like the different characters that we've grown to know already, how they would be taking it. You have some of the kids kind of being like, whatever, right? We're Targaryen kids, like we're kind of bored. Like, let's do some action stuff. We don't care about this shit.
Let's jerk off.
We've also got the two daughters of Lena who are heartbroken. Like, probably the two sweetest kids we've seen in the show so far that are at this level of royalty, if you want to put it that way.
Sure.
And Damon doing Damon things where he's kind of ambivalent to everything going on. He's there doing his duty, but at the same time, like, I don't know. Was he ever really all the way in for Lena?
It could be
The
seen
kind of guy that
laughs.
laughs at a funeral. Yeah.
I think that's a
Yeah,
good
Wears his
might-
heart
point.
on his, he wears his mind on his sleeve. Can't understand what I mean? You soon will.
You soon will.
I think Luke's got a point right there. Like, I don't ever think Damon disliked
It was a good relationship.
it.
For
was
him, it was useful,
what it was, and
but it wasn't
he had-
everything.
it wasn't his everything. Like, that's
But
I'm
he
not.
could respect it.
Yeah.
And he probably had a love for her in their way.
Yes, but it
He's
didn't light his fire.
He's probably okay
It was,
with this.
it was acceptable. It wasn't,
Yeah.
you know, his lifelong
But you
dream.
see, like, his kids really being hurt and affected by this. And truly, the only person who, like, so I know at one point, I believe Jace goes over and, you know, gives him a hand. What? Yeah. Okay. So it, like,
a little later.
but other than that, the only people that we see actually approach these girls who are, like, living their
Jace.
worst day is their grandma.
And,
like-
Yeah,
No, I'm
so I
saying.
missed that part. I'm
So,
sorry.
like, he goes over and gives him a hand, and it's like a kid being
He
like,
does.
there's
the-
a comfort, but the only person, like, I feel like you see in the moment
'cause she's feeling it too.
taking them in and being like, I get it. And what you like is just grandma. And I'm so happy that at least she's there, because dad really should have been doing that. And he wasn't there for that. Not hating on it. Everybody grieves differently, but I'm glad that at least they had Rainey's.
I did like that Jace did walk over,
Yeah.
regardless of him being told you should go
All right,
over
hold
there.
on. Look, can I stop?
Yes.
1 second. I had a note about the small talk. I was gonna type out all the small talk stuff, but I was gonna just say all the little small conversations. If
Go for it.
if you
Yeah,
could.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So the summary of that: Ray tells Jace to comfort his cousins. Aegon and Aemon talk about their sister. Club Sandwich creepily stares at Alicent.
Yep.
Corlys discusses Luke's birthright. Jace and Rhaenys comfort Lena's daughters. So I mean, you guys were kind of hitting on the Jace and the Rhaenys comforting.
But we're skipping some of the other.
I mean, the
like,
real
creepier things.
conversation
The
here
comfort in.
is absolutely the unspoken creeping, I believe.
No, it's the unspoken eye fucking.
That's what
And
Clutch-
not from Clubfoot there. There was a whole separate pair,
Oh.
dual pair of eye fucking going on.
there was a lot of eyes.
Oh, okay, yeah. Alicent and Rhaenyra kind of giving the stank. eye.
No.
Is that what you're talking
Well,
about?
I'm more going Allison and Damon.
Yeah.
As soon as they fucking lock that, oh yeah, his own.
There's a whole lot of eyes. I started
Yeah.
counting how many times we were just zoomed in on, like, somebody looking at somebody. I got up to 10, and then I was like, I'm distracted.
It was
and I
kind of
stopped.
awkward because there wasn't really anybody saying a whole lot, but just like kind of this little small talk here and there. But like a lot of, just observing different people just at this funeral or whatever.
I also thought it was
And-
pretty interesting. Like, have you ever been, like, the center of attention at a funeral? Like, Damon is this woman's husband. Like, you don't get a breath. I feel like you turn around right into somebody else wanting to speak to you, wanting to whatever.
Yeah.
And
oh,
he
you're handling
ver-
it well.
I mean, he very much was just like, I mean, leaning. I feel like Damon leaning is very much this episode. But nobody's, like,
That was a Matt
approaching.
Smith thing from I think either the end of this episode or from last episode, and at one point, I think it was the end of this episode, but he goes, "I just feel like Damon's a leaner," and like he specifically says that,
He
like, if
does
you've
say
noticed,
that.
Damon
Yeah.
leans a lot, you know.
I think
But no,
everybody
and
in. Sorry, go ahead, Benj.
I was gonna say, Kenzie had the point I was gonna bring up. Jace being like, "We're mourning too. We lost our father," and Rhaenyra has to remind him, "No, you didn't. No, you fucking didn't. Shut your fucking mouth, Uncle Fucker."
Shut your fucking
That's what
face,
she
Uncle Fucker.
I just heard Uncle Cracker.
She
but
was
okay.
also saying, "What would Brian Boitano do?" She was saying that the whole time.
And it's she's like, go be with them. They need you. And reminding him, they're our family. The Strongs are not. So it doesn't matter. And it's interesting to see Jace growing up with this problem,
Right. And I
or
think,
living with
like,
this information.
kind of to piggyback off of that, like, so if, I mean, I just pictured like there's two funerals going on at the same time, and like it's just like, well, I could go to Lena's or I can go to the Strong's funerals or whatever. And you see Club Sandwich at this funeral, like his family has perished, but he's
Like, it sounds like their hold on Harrenhal is hyper legit set right now. Like, there is no contention over that, where he has no worry about, I don't have to go there for the transfer of power at all. It's just so well understood. Obviously, there's a big contention going on the kingship, after Viserys, but like, Lair's Club Sandwich doesn't have to worry about not being there for his brother and father's funeral,
yeah, it's just crazy to me.
even though he's kind of the one that went ahead and did it. So,
Yeah.
Sorry for spoilers from two episodes ago.
He was there for a part, or he was a part of it. And then Abby, did you have another thought on
So yeah, like right as we're introduced to this scene, I'm kind of like, how? Like you don't have a single solitary other friend, confidant. There is not another person in this entire realm that could possibly be the hand of the king. Like I feel like they're exes. They have broken up.
Yeah.
They're exes for reasons, and yet here we came crawling back. There's not a
Did you learn your lesson?
like no, obviously.
Go with the known commodity.
Ah,
I'm
man.
not saying it's a good choice, but
Like there wasn't another person vying for the seat. No other in
I'm sure there's plenty.
But how did he get it?
How did
He's got the experience.
OVH get it?
Yes.
He's got the
Experience.
experience over everybody else.
I'm
A
sorry.
known commodity. And he proved himself well
And I think
before Viserys was even king.
Viserys, at this point, like his health has deteriorated, and like
He's just
he
done
doesn't think,
dicking with
I just
it.
don't think he thinks clearly. Like he just, oh well, we'll just have Otto come back, whatever. I think
And there's nudges coming from Alicent being like, this guy can do the job.
probably.
Yeah, my dad, fine. But he knows what the job entails. So he's going to pick the easy option. Wrong? Right?
No, you're right. I mean, and I think somebody with common sense would have picked somebody else, but I think
And how many years ago was it that he was let off? Do we
I mean,
know?
we got new
It
actors
was
and stuff.
7,
like
10 now? Is it 10
that.
years
His daughter
now?
is somebody else
it's
now.
at least 10.
His
yeah,
wife is
because,
somebody else now.
His wife is a different woman now.
Strong was hand for at least 10 years. So, yeah.
So, I mean,
time heals all wounds. It's kind of the thing of same thing with Viserys reaching out to Damon saying, come to court, be on my counsel.
he's trying to get back to that, his comfort level, his comfort zone of, I know what to expect from Otto, at least. And it has been 10 years. Maybe Otto,
Getting the band back together.
he's already got his win.
The boys are back in town.
He's already got his win of Alicent being there. But
She knows.
let's figure it out. What, Ataris or Don Henley?
Ataris.
Okay.
Ataris.
Don,
All right.
Don Henley.
Wrong, but okay.
Don Ataris.
So one other part of this scene that I wanted to bring up was the Corlys and Luke discussion. This was such a better I don't want it than the I don't want it, she's my queen. At least Luke's reasoning was valid. It's like, yeah, if I get it, it means everybody here's dead. So yeah, that's a valid reason
Yeah.
for not wanting to have a seat and not having power. Way better than she's my queen.
And I
Shut
think
up,
at the same time, like I don't think it's like the right time and place of like we need to like coach all these kids up on what is going to happen later, like at a funeral, like when somebody's already kind of
Yeah,
somber.
but this is probably the first time he's actually gotten to talk to him in how long, because Rhaenyra hasn't brought them home to Driftmark in probably years, and so this is just Corlys's chance of, hey, I gotta get in with my good new buddy here that I only get to see every 5 or 6 years.
I also think he's very much speaking out of turn, though. Like, and it's not so much the conversation that happens later. It's just when you are promising or speaking to children in general. It's like one of my biggest pet peeves as a mom. Don't tell my kids you're doing something or going somewhere. Like, because plans change, things change, whatever. Like,
What do we do this weekend? I have a lot of hopes
right.
for what we can get to this weekend. I
Right,
promise
like-
you, I would love.
We're gonna go to Home Depot.
So it's just
Maybe
one of those
Bed Bath
things
&
like,
Beyond.
will it come to fruition? Who knows?
Watch your mouth.
It's my favorite word.
Say fruition, please.
Fruition.
On this
Will it
show, we say
come
fruition.
To fruition or not, I have like a very suspicious feeling it won't, because it's been such a high point in this. So we're obviously creating tension, foreshadowing, whatever. But it's just a pet peeve of mine, as like, let's not make tons of future plans with children. So
I kind of like that moment between those
I
two,
thought it
though,
was
because
sweet.
in general, that's a grandfather being like, no, you have a job to do in the future, and I am choosing to believe that you can do it. And I like the moment when the child pushes back saying, I don't want that, because that means everyone is dead. You know, like if I'm that,
Yeah.
that means you're dead.
I mean, the kid
And that means everyone else
the
in the
kid
line
just
of that
hasn't
is dead.
came of age yet. I think if he comes of age and he just
Well,
has
It-
more responsibility,
It's more of the
might get it
emotional
more.
side of a kid being like, no, I don't want this thing that you're telling me that is my lineage, because that means all these people I care about have to be dead for me to assume that role. That's how I'd say. I loved that moment
And
where
it-
he was
it-
just being a kid,
that's
and it
how
was
he-
okay for him to be a kid in
I
that moment.
absolutely,
yeah,
Michael.
and that's how he understood it. Unfortunately, he misunderstood, because it's literally after Corlys dies, he inherits that straight up.
I know, but
Because-
either way,
well, no,
he doesn't want
Oh,
Corlys
no, I
dead.
know.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
I
he
just liked it
doesn't.
as the kid moment. I just liked it
He
as the
should-
kid
yeah.
moment. We don't get many of those
Right.
where
Agreed.
it's not a political comment. It's just I don't want that, because that means my grandpa died.
Yeah.
And I
No,
liked that
absolutely
for
agree.
that
Yeah.
only.
when you're 35, you're gonna inherit this.
Right.
Right.
He
The
doesn't-
kid wants to be 55,
Right.
which means Corlys is way old, which would be great. You know, like that.
That's
He doesn't want to be, he's not ambitious for it. Where if you compare it to everything we see in A Song of Ice and Fire with the phrase, right? Where they're like, we can't wait until Walder Frey dies, because we're all vying for that seat. We're all vying to be that guy. We all know exactly where we are in line. This is kind of the opposite version of that, where I don't want to have that, because that means everyone in front of me died, regardless of what. And I like the human moment
I
that we
have-
had.
written right here specifically on this. It was like, I don't know, little man, he's just winning hearts and minds out there. Like, it was so sweet and pure, as you're saying. Like,
Well, then actually think about it now, though, just kind of off topic. When Jace becomes king, down the line, if he doesn't have an heir directed, then Luke would be his heir. So would then Luke not be Prince of Dragonstone instead of Driftmark?
we're
That's
both.
like that just I'm just kind of thinking that out loud. So wouldn't Corlys want to perchance, talk to his eldest granddaughter as well? Bela, I think it is. I think it's Bela that later is talked about.
Yes.
But I think that conversation should be had as well for that possibility. Just kind of thing. I would like to see that conversation happen.
Right. All right. Anything else? I guess the last part of this scene, we have the king kind of departing for the rest of the night. But as he's like passing, like he calls Allison Ama. And it just, she kind of gets taken back by it, it seems.
I
Like,
do we
everyone
take it
kinda
as
pauses.
he's really going? I mean, he's not even 50 years
Senile?
old. Senile
I
would
mean-
be the word.
I'd say like the looks of him, yeah. But I mean, if you're saying he's 50 years old, then maybe not. But I mean, he looks like he's progressively looked like shit.
They're really laying it on thick, which is not out of text. Like that's totally
But we don't see his
canon.
birth certificate every episode.
We don't. We don't see his birth certificate,
there's
and
no
we're not there for all his
I'm 50
birthdays.
years old. I'm over the hill.
I'm 40. I'm a man. We don't have that. But you know, it's nice to see his degradation and the fact that. Do you think he realizes it in that moment and just doesn't? He can't say it out loud. The fact that he calls himself out, or did he just not even realize?
I don't think he realized it, but like at the same time, everyone just kind of pauses and it's kind of an awkward, setting for a minute until like, I think was it Westerling kind of jumps in or somebody jumps in and just, we got to go, Queen Alicent.
The devil's advocate here.
That's what I'm asking for. I'm
Happens to the best of us.
Hey,
Like
there's because he spent many years with his first wife, and
That's right, Larry.
so there's this whole thing about like the way you remember names, and I won't take a lot of times, but as like a parent, you mix up your kids' names. It's because you hold people in brackets or
I can't
in
tell you how many times I've called my son
Riley?
Mr. Narrow C
Riley,
himself.
yeah.
I have called him that many times.
My oldest, I call Luke all the time. June
My
gets
youngest gets
yeah, like so you hold people. The way your brain works is you hold people within like brackets and whatever. So if somebody is like your school friend, or if somebody is your work friend, or if somebody is your child, or somebody is your cousin, they're held within these brackets, and there's this hierarchy of brackets that happens. So
and Brackens.
Blackwoods too.
sometimes when you're not like wholly thinking, like you're just letting it run out, different names get pushed out because you are holding them in the same esteem.
Yeah.
So, like, I know that it is probably extremely rude and like off-putting to the person that it happens to in this situation.
And
But
they're
I-
clearly showing it that way. Like the way we're viewing it,
Yes,
it's meant to be that way.
yes, but like making a slip up like that is not as, I don't know, bad as it could other things, you know?
No, I think that's fair.
And I might just be talking out of my ass over here to cover my own ass, so it's fine.
Hey, we
It's
all
happening.
make the mistakes, but we're also not royalty,
Right.
so there's that.
What?
It is funny though. That is a funny moment that happens where she clearly takes it as a slight because
'Cause
she's
it
not
is.
as important as Emma was, and let's be honest, she's not.
And that's like the default, though. Like that's the thing. He defaults to that name, and that's what's hurtful.
In front of everybody, too.
Yes,
It's a public
it's
thing.
hurtful. Like
Yeah.
definitely.
I'm not gonna shit on either side.
Yeah.
I get it. I get both sides. Next scene, Glendog.
Yeah, so we have underneath the moonlight, a drunken Aegon is put to bed by OVH. Laenor is retrieved from the waters. Aemon observes a dragon in flight. Rhaenys and Corlys discuss matters after the long day.
Abby, I'm gonna come to you on. Do you have a thought on either Aegon or Laenor?
I have a whole encompassing like prediction.
Go for it.
Okay, so
Let's hear where this goes.
the people that were put to bed, Viserys puts himself to bed.
Yeah.
Aegon gets put to bed. Laenor gets sent to bed. Luke and Jace both get sent to bed. So I know, like, first season, one of the things that like tipped me off about like how many people were gonna die was somebody mentioned.
How many they got sent to bed?
No, they were like,
Oh.
"This is the last time. That's the only time we'll see the whole family together. Like, never again."
Oh,
like,
sure. 'Cause
Episode one.
This was a big conglomeration
Right,
of
so
characters.
Episode
certainly.
1, I believe. You know, we have the lineup at Winterfell,
Yeah.
and it's like that's the only time it happens. And I was like, well, that's
when
because they all die,
Big Bobby B comes in.
obviously. And every single person that Bobby B touches dies.
Kind of.
Apparently, is
Comes
that right?
very close.
No, I think
Comes
they
very
do.
close. He touches Bran. Puts his hand on his head.
Okay, Gotcha. I believe it.
Almost
But
everybody dies.
I feel like, okay, that works for
Pe-
me too.
people
Keep
die
it going.
sometimes.
That's fine. That works great
He
in
kind
mine.
of died a little bit.
All those 5 people I just
The
said,
future he
Inside.
wanted died.
the 5
certainly.
people I just say, my prediction is they all die. And Laenor dies. I hope he just dies like he does at the end. But that's the touching brand thing.
Okay.
That's
If you get
that's my
Valor
Valor
thought.
Morgulis, Abby.
Right?
Valor
Like-
Morgulis.
A murder mystery party or
Say
something.
Paolo Doyer.
Everybody gets they get put to bed.
There you go.
Dies a noble death.
Now
Okay.
Abby sounds like she knows what she's talking about.
Hey, I had to look up
And
earlier.
actually, okay, so that answers my question for a little bit later. So just that right there. Anyway, we'll get to it when we get to it.
We'll get to it then.
We'll get to it when we get to it.
Boom. Dunsies.
So we have a drunken Aegon, right?
Uh-huh.
Glenn, any thoughts on drunken
Aegon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you've seen like the past couple episodes. I mean, one he was jacking off in a window or whatever. You know, this time he's just throwing them back and stuff, and like kind of being flirtatious with the maidens or whatever.
He's got his eyes
and he's
wandering.
just kind of being like when
He's been
him and Aben.
a prince. He's being kind of a douchey prince, right?
Yeah, I mean, it just definitely kind of immature a little bit, and like, you know, I think he just kind of drinks a little too much here, and then I mean, we've all been there. We just kind of pass
Never.
out.
Never done that before.
What is beer?
Never even on an episode live. Never done that. Bench.
So we did kind of, yeah, it's really quick. We did kind of skip the Aegon, Aemond, Helena conversation in the previous one. Just wanted to shout out some weird statements from Helena there. Unknown what they may mean in the line, but something to keep track of.
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead.
Oh, somebody was. I mean, I saw online like apparently those are some kind of dreams that she has or something like that. Like I haven't really caught any. I really haven't gone back and just like tried to delve into that too much or whatever. But
Yeah.
apparently it's supposed to mean something. All the like weird stuff that she says.
Sure.
Nobody really pays attention to Luna Lovegood, so you know.
Exactly. But so going to the next part with the conversation with Rhaenys and Corlys, it's a fair request of Rhaenys. You know, it really is, but gets an even better response from Corlys. Who fucking cares about the blood? The name is what's remembered.
I don't think that's
And
at all.
that's-
Sorry.
That's exactly what he meant.
Oh, I know, but I
And-
think he's wrong.
No,
He
Why- it's-
he has hung his hat on the fact that his wife deserved to be
Mhm.
queen. She deserved it. That was hers,
Yeah.
and it was taken from her. And now, with the facts that they have and they know, is pushing against Bela being heir. I'm sorry.
His son, regardless of blood, and I'm going to come as an
Yeah.
adoptive father here.
I get that.
Regardless of blood,
That's
his son
family.
has chosen to be a dad to those boys. He has named them his heirs. Regardless if he knows or because he knows, the father knows the truth and everything like that. But he has accepted them as his own children,
Right.
and so from that point on, it does not matter, because there's a choice made between those two as a married couple that this is what's going to happen. But that kid is my son, blood or not. That's my kid, so he gets all my rights to me. And so cheers to Corlys for either being blinded eye and just not caring, or accepting, knowing the
Consciously.
truth and accepting
Yeah.
that, and consciously
Yeah.
making that.
Yeah, because I don't think it's the kid's fault really.
Absolutely not.
No,
He didn't choose to be strong.
I can't
None of us
argue
do.
that
None
point,
of us do.
Benji. I really can't. I think
didn't choose that.
Corlys's
Black hair instead of cool like
biggest problem at
blonde
this
dreads.
point is not
All
so
that long of
much
hair.
his heir, but how much resent Rhaenys has in her heart. Like, everything that comes out of her mouth is so resentful. Stop with your ambition. Like, I gave up on that years ago, and you've pushed me forward. He is losing, like, that strong
true.
dynamic of this marriage that I think everybody probably pretty much could agree on. Maybe not everybody. That would seem to be like a very strong, good marriage of equals. she's breaking from that. She has a ton of resent because
Yeah.
she just doesn't like the decisions that he is making on their behest.
That's fair.
All right. I guess my note on this whole scene, I guess it would be, it seems like the sunset comes incredibly fast. The darkness for me was just uncomfortable. Get away. There. Well, I was surprised that there was just like no fires lit and everyone just kind of standing there awkward. Did you guys feel that or no? There's like a bunch of people standing around. It's dark, and no one's really doing anything.
Yeah, there's a whole thing with like this scene and the next one of the nighttime, but just so darkly lit. And Mackenzie in the chat again brought it up. It's like you could tell all these scenes from here for the next few were filmed in the daytime, and Miguel was just like, "Oh, it's supposed to be night, so we're just gonna turn off all the fucking tones, and it's gonna be dark as shit." You know, the whole rest of the time, yeah, uncomfortably dark. It just doesn't make sense. We've seen
Yeah.
other outside night scenes, and it's reasonably well lit, but the whole rest of them are just of these just sucked.
Apparently, we should just show the dog more often. Also, I didn't notice a darkness problem on the episode. I think the technology on TVs has changed from what TVs are now. LEDs don't do darks that well. It just is true. I watch on the plasma that I have from 8 years ago. I didn't notice a single issue with the blacks, the darkness being an issue.
For me, I was watching in my room. I have like a lamp. I had the lamp on.
Well, there's your problem.
And I had to turn it off, and it was a little bit better, but still, it was just kind of. These scenes are kind of difficult because you just don't really know who's who sometimes, and you just see people, and you just see dark.
Yeah, I could just be missing the point. For me, I didn't notice an issue at all. That's all I can say it as. That's all I can say it as. I didn't notice an issue.
I don't think you're wrong in the sense of it is a TV issue to the point of, but that's something the filmmaker should understand. Most people aren't watching this on a projector screen or aren't watching this on a plasma screen. They're watching it on their computer or on their phone or
when I watched it on my
screen.
TV, not a problem. That's how I watched it first. And then I watched it again today just on my phone taking notes, and it was really dark. And I'm like,
I think
I watched it on my TV, and yeah, same.
What probably happened is the cops were coming, and they're like, "Everyone, be quiet. We're gonna turn the lights off. They're gonna think we're asleep, and they're gonna drive right past."
With the blackout
And then once
curtains
they come,
on.
the party's back on.
Oh shit! Just get the gun going again. Yeah, Phil, you're right. Yeah, I'm so cool. You're right. Thanks for putting it that way. You're right. I have no viewing problems. I just didn't notice. That's all I'm saying. I'm sorry.
I didn't at first, but I just figured because I was sitting outside during the daylight on my phone was my problem. That really could have been the problem on my phone also.
Like when we watched the Battle of Winterfell, we watched on a really terrible version of that. We watched on a projector screen in front of 600 people.
Roughly.
It was not dark enough, and the projector was not powerful enough to sell it. And even when we went back to watch it, we were all hyper focused on how dark it was.
Yeah.
And none of our TVs, we had to really try at that point to make that. That was just a rough episode for darkness. But I'm judging it against. I'm judging it against that. I guess is maybe also unfair. That's maybe also
because
unfair.
That was just that was the whole episode was in darkness. This one was just at least
kind of squint
10
a little
minutes.
bit.
Hello.
All right. Do we have any other thoughts before we go to the next scene?
I have zero thoughts.
Okay. Glenn Dog.
Next scene.
Yeah, I think so.
Under the stars, Ray and Day take a long walk on the beach as desires for one another return and result in love making in a shack. Damon, with a wild hair up his ass, runs the coastline and approaches a beast on the other side of the hill. He becomes bonded with Vhagar and takes a midnight run through the skies.
Gotta say, this was a cool set of scenes. In general, we haven't seen Aemond in a great light to this point. He's been bullied. He's been.
It was so dark.
It was, until now. There you go. But he's kind of been a bit prickly at times, right? He's been pushing against people
Prickly
that
pear?
he was being bullied in the last episode, and that doesn't lead you to believe that he's going to be a cool guy to some extent. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of leading us to believe that he doesn't offer a whole lot as being the only one in all of this children group that his egg didn't hatch. So you kind of project on him. Is there something wrong with him? Is he just kind of a flaky douche? Like, what is
Do
it?
you not like the pig?
But we find out in this moment, because of that, he has this opportunity to take this high risk, high reward
Wild hair up his ass.
moment, and he fucking takes it for a ride, doesn't he?
Mhm.
Gets the biggest prize in the
Absolutely.
land. I mean, Abby, any thoughts on getting Vhagar? Do you understand how big Vhagar is compared to other dragons?
Yes.
He's a big boy.
Mostly because,
big-
like, as
it's a
we
big
go
boy.
in, this was like one of my favorite parts of this episode. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. It's such a it's giving me How to Train Your Dragon feels when they're off on like the island. Oh my gosh, so awesome.
I heard Buckbeak. I heard Harry Potter writing Buckbeak.
And-
Buckbeak.
I read that one a few times.
Oh,
So-
I don't
the,
buy that.
The noises that I heard, my initial note was like, "Are they mating?" And then I was like, "Oh, I think they're lament. I think Vagar's lamenting." I was like, "Oh, inappropriate, like dragon, like terrible on me." But I mean, you take what you want.
It's a pretty big get.
It's a huge get, like an impressive get, and I haven't read anybody's notes, but I've seen a lot online where people are like, Rhaena felt entitled to this dragon, which
Rhaena.
Yeah, I think we'll
Isn't that her name?
Get that.
Lena?
Rayla.
Rayla.
No,
Ray Lewis.
Rayla.
No, it's
Oh, Bela?
No.
Oh, Rayla, the daughter.
Rayla. Yeah, this. Yeah,
Sorry.
okay, sorry
Yes.
about that.
No,
Rayla.
Sorry.
She felt entitled to this dragon. Obviously,
Yeah.
her mother has died. She also doesn't have a dragon.
Should almost inherit it from her mother, who went out of her way to get Vhagar.
Yeah, but is that a thing though?
Not
'Cause it
necessarily.
just seems like it was there for the
It's-
pickings.
I think it's kind of a misconception that we'll get to that in the next scene. I think
like
where
there's no lawyers or anything.
Yeah, that's
that-
when
next.
when
Yeah.
Aemon goes, she was
You-
there. You had the opportunity. Like,
it's in her
what do you
will.
want from me?
Right.
The will is
You don't will dragons. You don't will dragons.
I feel like
That's
it's a
100% true.
Very hard thing to be like, I am grieving my mother and I'm not going to look too giddy.
Eager.
Yes, like that's a bad look. And then somebody steps in, so I get that. But
I get
here,
both sides.
like, this is the biggest dragon there is. Like that teeth shot, where it's like, I'm like, oh boy,
He's a man.
like
And he mans up. I mean,
he's a
he
man eater.
he dragon riders up and
Yeah.
says, "I am taking command of Vhagar," because Vhagar says like, "Who the fuck are you? Like, why are you climbing my ladder?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing,
it's it's like the peer pressure that
Mister
he's
Big
had.
Shot?"
Peer pressure.
So
that
this
he's
is
had-
the oh god, Glenn, sorry.
Oh, I was just to say the peer pressure that he's gone through is, everyone's been giving him a hard time. You don't have a fucking dragon or whatever, and he takes it for, grabs it by the tail and let's go.
Yeah. So the question I had brought up or was thinking of earlier that I answered, because I'm like trying to figure out what Aemon's telling Vhagar. He's saying, Dohaeris,
yeah.
Dohaeris Vhagar, and it's
Serve. He's saying
Yeah.
serve.
Vhagar. Yeah.
Sorry,
And
I
I'm like,
didn't.
I'm
I didn't
not-
take a whole bunch of lessons in High Valyrian.
play-
but
What's
Yeah,
the
no, no,
second
no,
one?
They're playing volleyball.
I looked
like-
it up.
Once I
I forget what he says.
know,
I forget what it was.
he
Kiri.
says Dohaeris Vhagar Lokiri,
Yeah,
which is settle, I think.
Like,
right? I
calm
don't know, I didn't
down.
look up-
I looked it up
Yeah,
because I'm like,
but-
what does that mean?
but I
Luckily,
didn't
a
look up
lot
the
of other
Harris. I'm
people
like, I
Googled
should
it,
know
so
that.
it came right up.
And I'm like, I should know that. And then I answered my own question when I said Valar Morghulis, and he said Valar Dohaeris. I'm like,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So it made sense to me there.
That's where
but
I got
we
it too.
kinda-
I was like, oh, that's why I
Yeah.
knew that one. Gotcha.
Yeah. We jumped the other part of the scene with Damon and Ray doing a nice little beach walk and getting a little busy in the sand. Sand gets everywhere. I hate sand. It's coarse and it gets everywhere.
Sex on the beach is just not a good drink or a good idea.
Sex on the beach.
Well, they're in.
You never know.
They're in a shack. So
They did.
I feel like they were on a boat.
They were within the bowels of a beached boat.
A
beached
shack-ish
ship.
Shackish, shanty,
boat.
whatever you
Hey,
want.
sex on the beach. You never know.
So my thing about that, like, so this was simultaneously. You have Aemon running on the coast. You have them getting it on in this boat / shack / shanty, whatever you want to call it.
Get it on.
For a second, I thought he was gonna like run like right into the.
Whoa!
Oh, I saw something, and kind of similar to like when Bran caught.
Kind of like a spoilage
Cersei and-
of like, yeah.
I know something that
And he's gonna get pushed off into the sand and be like, "This didn't hurt at all."
Yeah.
No, that's fair though. Like I could see the way they shot it. They were trying to show a bit of that same idea of he could be running into seeing Ray Lewis and Day Day doing something a little dirt, but he ends up doing the dragon thing, and they end up continuing walking a little bit, right? We don't see anything more than them just walking together, right?
They're
now.
walking and then they go.
And I think she calls it out of being saying she talks about how, Laenor, fucking great husband, whatever, but I want you, right? We get to that point here,
Well, at the same time, you have she had just lost her love interest in Harwin Strong, so.
And no one
led
can
by
possibly
Laenor, so
no one can possibly comfort her
someone's
in
gonna fill
that loss.
void, right?
Less of not denying the void thing at all, but like still that's a loss for her. That's her children's parent. That's her children's father, and she cannot lament that. Like she's not allowed to. And he even says that in that scene. He goes, I don't really care about losing Lena, but you're not allowed to grieve for your loss. Because she goes, I envy you on the time you spent away. And she says that. She goes, I envy you. And he goes, I don't, because I know that you can't grieve for the one that you just lost. Talking about fucking Strong. And I think that was a good moment between those two because they've always spoken to each other with such candor, such honesty, more than anyone else possibly could, more than Viserys can even understand. It's not surprising that they get along so well. They always have. She was the one that talked him off the fucking ledge at Dragonstone, if you want to call it that. Not really off the ledge, but off this precipice of doing something really stupid. And he respects her more than anybody, and it goes the other way too. I think it's a strong dynamic between those two that they can't ignore.
Written like they're just such equals.
They
But
respect each other as equals.
I don't know if I'll stand to that because I think we see it is equals though, because Damon would never bow down to anybody. He allows himself to empathize with Rhaenyra, which like he is allowing that to happen or letting her take the lead only because he views her as an equal. So I don't know if she's like hierarchy than him in his brain or not, but he allows her to take that step up. And it's, I don't know. I don't hate it. It's fine. It's good with me.
It's hard.
They're suited for each other.
I think we've been shown that for a long time.
Yeah,
since
absolutely.
episode 1.
Yep.
Since episode when he's sitting on the throne, and your homeboy Westerling is like, "What the?"
And she's like,
well, she's like, "No, it's okay, it's okay. Let me talk to him. Let me talk to
You
him.
got this. I got this.
Easy,
We're gonna be married.
easy,
someday.
Graham. Let me talk to him.
McTavish, back off.
Hair McTavish. Let me talk to him.
I do think that this is the first time in this show that we've seen consensual sex.
No.
It depends on your.
100% on both sides. Yes,
I think
I
so.
think it is.
No, yeah, you can't.
I think it's without any other problematic
That's what.
non-problematic
authority.
consensual sense. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, if you count
That's
Aegon
fine.
having sex with his hand, then
Hey.
You know what, Glenn?
Hey.
You got me there.
There it is.
There, you're
Abby thwarted again. God, first
Glenn
time,
can just be
first
right.
time watcher.
Episode 1, we did get some decent little scenes in the brothel.
I was gonna say broth. There's also paid.
What I consider that consensual. Like if you are two grown adults,
yeah.
like whatever.
So we got to pull
depends on your-
Damon and Miss Arya. That happened, but he didn't finish.
Two people
does
fucking-
that
The two
count?
people fucking
I got a
the two
question
people
about
fucking
her
that
after.
stopped mid stroke for Damon's speech. You know.
And technically on the Aegon, he didn't finish. Does that count? I'm just saying.
And Damon never finished in the brothel, so
That's
that
what I'm
doesn't
saying.
count.
I'm-
right? Like it depends.
Same thing.
I don't know.
Consensual finishing sex.
Same thing.
Okay.
Glendog, you had a thought on Miss
Miss
Arya?
Star, like we saw her. What episode? Was that 2 or something like that?
2 and 3, I think, is when they were on
Yeah,
Dragonstone.
It seemed like she was going to be a bigger part, and then she's
Where's that gone?
been abandoned.
Maybe she comes
Is
back.
this abandoned plot lines?
Is this abandoned plot
It's
lines
also
she
been
could be
10
on?
years since there.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
He might have aged out. He might have.
He might have died of dysentery
Leo,
at this point.
He might have Leo
or
DiCaprio.
gonorrhea.
She-
Oh, there
yeah,
you go.
she-
She's
yeah,
over
she just
25, so
aged
she's out now.
okay.
Exactly.
A friend of ours, Polly Holy Stone, said, "What if she becomes the Red Witch?" I said, "I don't know anything necessarily against it specifically, but just wanted to throw that out there as a thought that somebody offhand threw out to us." So there's that.
Well, because the Red Witch would
Was it
be
offhand or cold hand?
alive at this point, right? Or
She
no?
could be. I mean, we have no idea
know.
what her true full-time history is. We have
But,
no
like,
idea.
Yeah, because when she like takes off the mat or whatever she does, like she's
She's like a
One
billion
person?
years
billion
old.
years old.
She's a billion years
See, I'm so confused by her specifically, but that's okay. More on that later.
one last
More
thing
on
in
that
this,
later.
set of scenes.
There's also no answers. So.
Kashmir Rivers. You'll learn about him later.
I thought about, at the end of this with Aemon riding off on the dragon. I feel bad for Lena here. She loses her dragon and she loses her rider in the same
Not
time
Lena.
frame.
Whoa, whoa.
Yes,
Oh.
Lena, the one who died.
Okay, got you.
replaced-
Sorry.
Sure, her dragon replaces her and her rider replaces her in the same
One
5 minutes span.
foul swoop.
Yeah,
So you're
it's
saying
like,
Damon and Vagar replacing her?
there you yes, all in the same time frame. I was making a
Ouch.
crude joke, but it was still
It was
I
crude.
feel a little
It was
bad.
crude.
It was crude, but I thought it was funny. But at the same time,
Crude Tom.
it did actually hit me. I'm like, that kind of sucks. She's not been dead for
It's like a
let's
crude
say
Tom
2
joke today.
weeks,
It
and
it means
dragon and
like everybody's replaceable. Like to
Yeah.
the umpteenth percent here. Like 5,000 just in out with the old in with the new. Ouch. That is
Exactly.
sad. Bench. That's
God
really
damn it.
sad.
There he is.
Just saying hi.
Oh, hi.
Not joining.
That's a sweet shirt, bro.
Thank you.
And this is Mr. Darcy walking
Himself.
in to say, I'm not joining the show, but
Not in the state to join the show.
I'm not in a state to join the You
He's in
can
a
you can
state to
say
say
it
hi.
into the microphone, so I don't have to repeat for you.
I will get a beer while this.
He was at the game today, I believe.
I am not in a state to join this show, but I'm here to say hi to every viewer and to none of the hosts.
Oh, even me?
Thanks, man.
Let me see the back of that jersey.
It says Valley Sports, which sucks.
It says nothing.
No, it doesn't say anything
It
because
says,
your
it says
hoodie's
literally nothing.
Exactly.
cover. That's perfect. Good placement.
Point.
Valley Sports needs to fire
Nice
Jim
job.
Edmonds.
Nice
just
job of
saying.
loss today.
That's my official plea.
I
Please.
was really excited to make it here, and then I saw everybody's card. And
Mike, leave. No Blackhawks. No Cubs. No.
They can
just leave.
They can have Jim Edmonds.
You can have Jim Edmonds.
Please. Like, can we trade these? Squaresies? I don't care.
Do you-
No.
No, you shouldn't. You
Stay
You
upstairs.
should
We'll
not.
get done quick, and then you can hang out with us. Yeah, go hang out with the kids. Go play PS5 in my house. Okay.
I just wanted to say hi.
Yeah. Thanks for coming out.
I hope you guys have a good episode.
We're trying. This is getting better right now. Yeah, have the first sip of my Alaskan Amber. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So, does anyone know where we're at?
Nope.
Uh,
About a quarter way through my chili. That's where I'm at.
Hey, Benji.
Should we go to the next scene then?
let's go to the next scene. Unless we're Benji, are we obviously missing something?
Nope, that was it.
Next scene.
Trying to...
All right.
See you, Mr. Nerosi.
See you, bud. All right.
Now Beer Hog's gonna show up.
Derailed.
Back at camp, Balea warns Jace of the Vagar thievery. Ray and Day watch Vagar land following their sexual relations. Aemon is met by his cousins upon arrival, who show their dismay over Aemon's actions. A fight ensues. Aemon finds out that the blade will cut.
It will cut. Forged in fire.
Forged in fire. If you haven't seen that, it's
If
a
you
good
haven't
show.
seen it, you should see it. So when again, we kind of alluded to this earlier when Mr. Nerosi himself was here last week on our last episode. We talked about a confusion between which son of Alicent is which between Aegon and Aemond.
It's alphabetical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
I know. 'Cause I
Yeah,
need,
It is.
what is that,
Right.
mnemonic devices to remember things?
and
Absolutely.
G.
When
Demonic.
it comes down to, he was like, no, I'm pretty sure the one that gets bullied is Aemond. And I said, no, because that one gets a really specific nickname. And he's Aemond One Eye is who we get now. I couldn't talk about that then, but
Right.
that's why I was very
And it-
specific. Like, I can't really tell you much about it because this is a cool scene. Not a cool scene. It's a very well done scene. It's a very important scene. And we see that it blows up real quick into a lot of things. But Aemond losing his eye for calling the other boys Strongs is a pretty important spot. It's
I
one
don't
of
know
those.
If it's just because he called him strong.
That was the fire off point. There were
there's
other
a-
things
there's a
leading up to
scuffle,
it. There were other
for
things
sure.
leading up to it, along with the Vagar stuff.
Yeah.
What else? What else are you looking at?
So I
I'm not
feel
saying
like
you're wrong. I'm just asking.
Luke, he's the younger one. Yes.
This is gonna get real weird.
No. So Luke
No,
is the
just-
younger one, obviously, on both
Yeah.
senses here.
Yeah,
And after Bela and Rayla hit him, and then Jace goes after him. He goes after Luke, and he says his things, and Luke is literally being choked out. And as he's choking him out, he has complete control over him. He picks up a rock. That if that is not like a threat upon a life, I'm sorry. I feel like Jace in that instance is very justified. I don't think it was just because he called him Strongs. Like, I think he's saying, test me, come after me. I'm going to bash his head in. Like, that's how I took the scene. And I don't know. I see Benji's notes, so I'm going to stop here and let
I
him.
think it was also like 1 versus what? 5?
That's
Four,
Benji's.
four.
Yeah. Like,
Benj, go ahead.
No, I don't want to, because me and Glenn agreed on it.
I didn't read your notes.
Eamon
I'm
did
sorry.
nothing wrong in this in any of this. He took Vagar. He had the right. He stepped up. He made the choice.
It
He
was
took
there,
it.
Totally valid.
there for the pickings.
Absolutely okay in my book.
He comes back in and is confronted on a 4-on-1 by kids that are roughly his age. It's not like there's a bunch younger than him. Jace is right around Aemon's age. The two twins are right around his age.
Yeah, what is
You
it?
know,
I agree
only
with
Is this
Luke's a little
Rugrats
younger.
where all the kids are just at large and there's no
I mean,
grown-ups
yeah,
around?
kinda. And so then Bela, cold cocks him, sucker punches him, and the other one attacks him, so he shoves her away. Then Luke charges him. They all knock him down, and on top of him, he fights him off, gets up. Yeah, he grabs Luke by the throat and grabs a rock, and he pauses. He hesitates because he doesn't think, I'm actually gonna bash this kid's head in, but I fucking could. I have it. And that's right, bastards. You know, and he throws in
Yeah.
that one last jab.
I don't think
And
Aemon
Jace-
did anything wrong. I don't. It's
No,
kids
he
being.
was in a losing
I
fight.
think very much
Completely
it's
feisty.
kids being kids.
That's where I'm at.
I think it's very much
There's
kids
just
being
higher
kids.
stakes
But there's
that
and,
they're.
and there are clear battle lines drawn, or like not like who you side with. What is that word? Like where your loyalties lie are very much drawn right here in this short scene. So we see that like it's Corlys's family and Rhaena's Rhaena, right? Rhaenyra. Sorry, Corlys and Rhaenyra, and then we have Alicent's boys. And there are some definite like battle lines where we fall upon this, like being drawn quickly too. Like, hey, like each other's taking these sides. So I think that's very telling. Like without obviously a ton of like background knowledge, it's like, hey, you can never talk about it again. We've already done this. Whose car are we taking? You know the scene I'm talking about, Ben. You used it the other day.
Oh, yeah.
So you see that very much there's like some loyalties that
Oh,
are
yeah.
divided. But I feel like he used Luke as a shield or a hostage, not a
Yeah.
look what I could do, like a I'm taking him as a shield.
So that everyone backs down.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Well,
Like
Still not a wrong thing when you're in
I-
a losing fight.
I
You
just
know, you're in a losing situation. You're gonna do what you need to, and yeah, if you have to take a hostage to get the others to back off, take the fucking hostage.
I feel like it
You know, it's
adequately escalated on both sides. Like I don't think
until Jace fucking pulls a goddamn dagger out.
Well, yeah, but he's also the youngest one here, and he's trying to protect
Jace
his
is
older
or
brother.
Luke,
Jace is
Luke
the older.
is.
Jace
Jace
is,
is the,
It
Luke's
was
the younger.
it was Luke that stabs him in the eye.
It's
but I think the
Jace, I thought.
dagger doesn't the dagger drop? Or
Lu-
no?
No, Luke is the youngest
Luke
one.
shoved through the sand in his eyes.
Luke
because of
throws the
sand.
sand and Jace.
Oh,
Yes.
that I think is backwards.
I don't know. I
From
thought it was Luke that stabbed him.
No,
No?
I don't know. I could
think it's the younger one that
as
uses
how
the
Benji
dagger.
just said
It's
it right
the
there.
younger one that uses the dagger to save his older brother. I'm pretty sure. I'm not gonna hold my hat to it, but that's what it should be.
The way I
believe that's the way it's
remember
supposed to be.
is how Benji just said it.
Because it's the younger brother who is definitely not equipped to fight Aemon hand to hand to save his older brother. Saves his older brother is what he feels. That's how I take it. I think that's how it is in the book.
I think in the long run, though,
Someone in the chat's gonna say I'm either way
It's-
off or not, but
yeah,
I think that's the way it goes.
it's all
Jace pulls the knife.
it's all fun and games until someone loses an eye.
Luke slash.
Luke
Yeah,
Slash.
Luke-
Really?
Luke
How
is
did
the
I
one.
miss that?
It's the younger brother that stabs it, which is why they say we're gonna take Luke's eye. Later on, we're gonna take Luke's eye.
Okay.
Tell me, I was really
Okay.
That's why you,
fucking.
I believe
was
you,
aware
but-
of
No,
it.
that's
why
fine.
you have
I
glasses.
missed
That's why
the
you have
switch.
glasses.
So that's on me.
Because I know that at one point the dagger is in the sand. Luke throws the sand, and I thought that Jace. I'm not really arguing that I'm right. It's just surprising that like
The other thing that I want to point out that's
That's weird.
this is a difference from Fire and Blood. When this originally happens, it's a little bit different just because I believe it's Lucerys that sees Aemond early in the morning when he's going out. So he's the one that goes back and tells everyone else that, hey,
instead of Balea.
yeah, he tells all of them that he sees
he's
them that Aemon's going out to get Vhagar is what he
In the middle, like
that
in the
Harry
middle of the
Potter has
night.
left.
and
the
it's a lot
castle.
quicker than this. It's actually he goes out, he flies around Aemond, and then comes back, and they're all sitting there like on the ground when he lands. So it happens like almost like in a dragon landing yard. But yeah, no, it's definitely the younger brother that slices the eye.
But still,
Definitely.
but
That's what I thought, because
regardless, whoever brought the fucking
or
knife, though,
irregardless.
you know,
They all had knives. They all had knives. They all are equipped with knives. Doesn't really matter.
If you've been
Yeah,
on TikTok
pulls the
lately,
kni- he
don't
pulls the
worry
knife.
about a guy in the South with a knife in his pocket. Anyways, if you're there, you'll know.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Paul Hogan. There he is.
This is a knife.
Crocodile Dundee.
That's
All right. So we now have Aemond One Eye, and anything else? I mean, the blade will cut.
Will cut.
It's forged in fur. There you go.
Moving on then.
Yes.
Maesters tend to Aemon's eye as Viserys berates the Kingsguard. The children bicker at one another until Viserys demands the truth. Ray and Alicent disagree over who's to blame in the fracas. Aegon is honest when asked of the Ray Kid rumors. Alicent calls for an eye. Alicent then grabs the Valyrian blade. It too will cut. Aemon loses an eye but gains a dragon.
Small price to pay, I think.
I'm not gonna lie, that is one of the most badass lines, and the way it's delivered. Just don't mourn for me, Mom.
Like at the
I
end,
may have lost
yeah.
an eye,
Yes.
but I keep a dragon. Like, it's just like, oh, dude, okay,
End of scene. Okay, yep. All right.
I mean, of
Everybody
all
cool?
the things you could do to get a dragon, like, cool, take my eye, right? Like, there's so much higher prices to pay. I feel like he got off, like, that was the deal of the century, personally. Just me. But you can have my eye. I'll have a dragon. Squaresies.
Yeah, he came out ahead at that point.
Yeah. No harm.
That's like one of those that's like one of those impossible what would you rather have a dragon or both of your eyes? Like one of those stupid
What would you do?
hypothetical questions that people ask all the time. Like, would you rather
Oh.
have $1 million
Oh, let's play Would You Rather.
or never use your phone for the rest of your
One
life?
eye and have the biggest dragon in the fucking world. Yeah, let's go ahead.
Would you rather
This dog.
something?
This dog is gonna
or
kill
whatever.
me.
Would you have the dog kill you or
As-
both of your eyes?
Is anybody talking or have a note on Viserys and his questions that he's asking to his guards or whatever?
His berating of
Oh,
the
to
guards.
the guards?
Yeah.
Not quite the guards,
Oh.
but to the kids.
Okay, so that's where I'm gonna start. Then I'm gonna be rude and just take it over here.
Fine.
Go for it.
I find it really funny that he asks how does this happen? In is it Harold? Harold?
Yeah.
What? Westerly?
Westerly.
Westerly.
Yeah, he is like, the kids were supposed to be asleep. Like, he gets an answer. It's not really what he was asking, but he's like, bro, the kids were supposed to be asleep, which, okay. And then he specifically asks, who had the watch? Who had the watch? And he is given a non-answer.
Mm-hmm.
And the non-answer that he given is, but the prince was attacked by his cousins. And that was given by fucking Kristen Cole.
Yep.
So who had that watch? My bet is going to be Kristen Cole had that watch and was like, you know what?
It specifically said earlier, Westerling, when he takes
Yeah,
Viserys away,
you have the
he says, you have the
Yep.
watch.
so
you have the
Watch
night's
is yours,
watch.
Yeah.
it's just funny because
I gotta go watch the king poop his pants.
is this allowed to happen? I also understand kids will be kids and you can't be watching night. But no, I believe firmly that Kristen Cole allowed this to happen. Westerly is the one who steps in and is like, stop this.
Yeah.
Cole is a problem. I mean, I think we all know that, but ooh, he doesn't
He doesn't
even
give
answer.
one moment of redemption.
He doesn't even answer his king.
Who? Chris?
Yeah.
Crisscross Cole. He is not on
Makes
my
you wanna
favorite.
jump.
Makes you want to jump.
Jump off a bridge, Kristen Cole. Jump. Sorry. And yeah, so
Coleslaw shit the bed. I'm getting a lot of. Do I have to? The chat's getting wild right now. Apparently, YouTube thinks they're getting out of control because I have to.
Oh,
you
by the
keep
way-
approving it.
I have to approve
Oh,
a lot of
no.
comments right
Right.
now, and I'm
You know
saying
what?
just do it.
I'm right
I-
there with you, Luke.
I agree because coleslaw is the fucking worst. Gross.
By the way, I want to point out: is the chat kind of responsible for a episode title, or I think
Yeah, good job
I think,
pointing that out. I have
Linda.
a note later on to remind us to do that. So Glenn, take it away.
right? I think the thing to beat is Driftmarky Mark. So if chat, if you could beat, you have to beat that.
We changed our format to name our episode later rather than us deciding. We want to have it be a chat influence thing. So right now, the hedge winner is Driftmarky Mark, but start putting in your votes and your thoughts, your nominees.
Yeah, if you got
How about that? Your nominees.
Input,
And then before we do our favorite things, or maybe right after we do our favorite things, I forget where it's at in the book, but
Just
we
start
will
throwing them in there.
decide. And welcome Linda R. Thank you for being
Oh my
here.
god! I just freaked out. It's Linda.
It's not only Linda, it's Linda R.
True. Sorry about that. Disrespect unmeant.
So, all right. So in the scene, of course, as we mentioned earlier, Damon and his leaning, he just walks in and leans against the door, watching the chaos unfold. Just fucking great sitting back. Only chimes in once Cole decides to step up. But
You say
I like
Ollie?
that.
Is Ollie in
No,
this?
I said
fuck Allie.
Fuck Ollie.
Oh
fuck
no.
Ollie. But like really, only truths were told to the king when he was questioning the kids, at least, not the yeah, whatever watch
Yeah.
fucking King's Guard.
Eh.
But like when he's out asking Aegon, he's like, or Aemon, he was like, where'd you hear these lies? Where'd you hear these, besmirchments and all this? And he's like, and he looks up and he looks at his mom. He's like, Aegon told me. Because he knows he can't say his mom, but he can kind of throw it on Aegon. And Aegon just like, instead of again calling out Alicent, he's just like, everybody knows.
Yeah.
Just like a smart ass teenager.
Well, at first he's like,
can say,
like me, like I
I
gotta.
I wasn't even there.
I'm just here.
yeah, where were you?
But I'm
He does
I'm
like,
kind of
well, I'm
glad.
still fucking drunk.
I'm glad that he
fuck?
tells the truth though, like because he could have.
It is the
It
truth.
was
truth.
Randy over there.
It wasn't
and then-
Barry the Bear guy.
Okay, we're gonna kill Barry the Bear guy
Yeah.
because for making up
Fucking
these
Barry the Bear
these
guy.
false rumors.
Glenn, name of the bear.
Bart
In the mayor and fair. Maiden fair.
Glenn knows.
Bart is the name
Bart
of
the bear, the most famous bear
Most
in,
famous
in Game
bear.
of
He's-
Thrones. Did anyone else get vibes from when Bobby Baratheon is condemning
Yeah, Joffrey.
Lady and
Yeah.
to death, right? Like it's very much like that. Let's get the information as a king from the kids. It's what a nightmare. Like, have you ever like asked a kid like, "Hey, what happened between a group of kids?" What a fucking nightmare that is. Right? I mean, Abby's over here dying as someone who knows exactly. I know
but
for
you see
sure.
that scene there.
We've had it between our
2
kids.
days ago, my son came home from school and said it wasn't a great day. And I said, "Well, what happened?" There was a fight. And I said, "Oh my gosh, where? What happened?" "At recess." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Are you okay?" He said, "Well, yeah, I'm fine." And I said, "Was it scary?" And he was like, "Yeah, a little bit." And I was like, "Cool." The next morning, I got a call from the vice principal of the school. Apparently, he was in the fight.
Not that a fight happened.
No.
It was a fight with him.
And no disrespect to this small, he's a kid. Things happen. Whatever. Like, it's all handled. But I was just like on the phone with the vice principal, like, oh, okay. Like, it is very hard to get an accurate representation of a totality of a situation.
Oh my god.
My goodness.
Like again, I've had this between our kids and they're cousins and they love each other.
Yep.
But sometimes you're like, how do we get to the fucking bottom of what actually happened? Or do I care?
Yeah.
Or do I care? That's
You're
the
all
other side.
wrong.
You're all wrong. No
Everybody-
fun, as Uncle
No
Glenn would said.
fun.
He would have
You're all
started with
wrong.
that. No fun.
Then they know that no fun.
And then the problem was solved. That's what you start
Anyway,
with as a parent.
Back to like the point you make about Joffrey and Bobby. Like at that point, there was an eye for an eye.
It was. Yeah.
But,
And
you know-
guess what? Even though Lady had no part to do with this, we're taking that dog out.
And Sansa knew that he was lying about the whole thing, but
But she chose the bed that she had to lay in.
right. And Big Bobby B trusted his son, so to speak, or whatever. So
Speak of the devil.
The DeVille.
Speak of Corella.
but this time around, you don't there's a call for an eye, but you don't actually get an eye for an eye.
Yeah, no, and it's one of those of realistically, like watching the scene back today, neither Allison nor Rhaenyra really come out as a viewer clean on this because Rhaenyra's obviously playing up her, oh, daddy, not me, not my kids, these vile things, play, and as the viewer, we know it's bullshit.
Well, she's coming from
Allison's-
the shack as well.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Radio?
From the
She's coming from
I mean,
Radio
well,
Shack.
like-
You know,
He's coming from
Well,
the
that's the thing, she's
fuck
like-
shack
Oh.
on the
Love
beach.
shack.
Tin
The
roof.
love shack, baby, love
That's-
shack.
that's
The
tin roof.
B-52,
Short shack.
Tin roof. Arrested.
But she's first of all, she's there asked, where were you at? Well, I was out for a walk, and as you came in with Damon, great, not suspicious at all. But so she comes across as bad.
They
from
were
the
out
viewer's
for a
perspective,
walk.
but there's a lot of viewers more. Allison comes across worse because she's the raging woman, as most people hate, or love to hate the up in arms raging woman. I do like
And it's the
Rhaenyra's calling her
stepmother. It's
out.
the easy stepmother trope going on.
Exactly. And I do like Rhaenyra calling her out, saying, "Now they see you for what you are." Got under her skin and all that.
But
it's
we
like people
also know
see-
that Allison is actually technically correct. Like she's
Yes,
pissed
Yeah,
about
yes, but I think she takes it a little too far.
I agree. I am
Oh,
not on
agreed.
Allison's side, but it's just funny that
No.
like it's easy to fall into Rhaenyra, who is also technically correct on some things, but we're forgiving her on other things, right?
Because she's more.
And Allison, I don't like that I'm saying it kind of hasn't done anything wrong until
Okay.
now.
You ready for?
Like, am I wrong? Like,
No.
kind of hasn't done anything
But
wrong.
she has.
She
because
has.
He's playing this victim or this holier than thou card. I've
Exactly,
done
yes.
everything right. I've done everything right, and it's so I have done a
And so
deep.
now Rhaenyra is saying they see you because you're being the aggressor right now,
Yep.
and you've been doing this. The
I
whole
love that
time.
you just used that word. Yep.
Right? I mean,
Uh,
I love how they're showing this because it's still hard to know who to get behind.
right.
Right? Like there,
absolutely.
I could
That's what
justify
I've
either
seen.
side.
I can't get behind anybody.
And
it
I can't.
seems.
I really can't.
I could get
agree with
behind
any
all
of them.
those girls. Just saying.
I can get behind them for their power, but not for any of the legitimacy.
Not what I would
Like
do,
none
but
of
okay.
them.
The only thing I will say is like
Did I miss your point, Abby? I'm sorry. Did I miss your point?
No, I was being dirty in that last comment,
Oh.
and
Okay.
I do have
I'm
a
not
real
gonna have
point.
a dirty comment with my sister. That's not gonna happen. So
I'm just trying to get behind Allison, but not actually behind her. Like I don't agree with her.
okay.
Is what
All
I'm
right.
saying.
Yeah, shit.
She's my girl.
I like her green.
Right.
I like her greens.
But I do have a point on this at some point. Glenn, you have the floor, my
I
friend.
got I get to talk.
You can have the talking chili.
The talking chill. Okay, cool.
You have the
I was
chili
gonna say,
talk
like
on soft rock.
as far as like who to get behind. Jesus Christ. You just have to just trust that Allison is the heir. If it comes down to the thing about the long night or whatever in the first episode,
that
when
Rhaenyra is the
Rhaenyra
heir.
is the only one that knows about that, really.
Oh, okay.
Viserys and her know about that. Like, there's kind of arguing who should be on the throne. Well, if not Rhaenyra, they're not going to know about the long night, so it's going to get lost. And I think that's what Viserys knows all along. He just doesn't really say that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it really almost feels like a throwaway comment so far that Viserys brought the ice and fire, the prophecy thing to Rhaenyra. That's the only time it's been mentioned at all, right? Like I can't even see any symbolism, and maybe I've just missed it.
Symbology.
I haven't seen any symbology that has even, I'm going to use the word, you ready? Harkened back to that being a thing at all.
And
That not once.
with the fruit chin.
There's been no fruition. There's been no hearkening. I haven't seen anything going back to that other than, hey, early in the season, we should throw up these words
And, yeah,
as key terms.
Juxtaposition.
We'll see if they do more with it as they go, but it's really been something they could have tried to use. They have continued to use the fucking dagger, which is the dagger that's held in this scene
The juxtaposition.
to Rhaenyra's throat. It is the dagger, which I still think is a bit fucking ridiculous, but hey, let's keep using the one dragonbone hilt dagger that we've had. And maybe there's a reason towards that.
Somebody got it. Symbology. It kind of makes me feel like river dancing. Might get
gets
too
it.
hard. I got it.
And he'll be at the next Campfire Nights show. So if you could find your way to October 29th to St. Louis, Missouri, just go to the airport. We're as close to the airport as you can get for the next show.
Listen for the music.
Just
That'll be
listen.
us.
It's gonna be loud. It's gonna be us. So there you go.
Hey, there's going to be buns there.
There'll be a lot of buns.
plenty of buns. If you've ever wanted a bun, this is the place to
Hey,
get it.
whatever kind of bun you want. We got hot dog,
Serious
burger,
thing to say in the bun.
maybe brat buns, but they might just use hot dog buns for the broth. So I
Fucking
don't know.
Josh.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Hey,
Whose name is not Josh?
it's Chris.
I know.
It's Chris that you're talking about.
Start calling him Josh.
I know. That's what I have done because Matthew mentioned that name in a conversation, and from now on, he's Josh in my brain.
Easy, Josh.
Well, there you go. So
Okay.
back to this episode. Other than like seriously, if you want to make your way to St. Louis, October 29th, you can see some of us at this table or on
All
the
of us.
stream. Actually, we'll all be there.
We'll be on the
We'll
table.
all be there.
We'll
all
be
be
on
playing music on the tables. And yes, we will toast your buns, Phil. If you're there, we will toast your buns.
Happily.
No doubt.
Stop
Can I
hitting the
go on
tape.
with this?
Abby, please come on with
Take
the
her
actual
away.
episode.
Okay, so
Take her away, Ern.
thank you. This scene, I literally afterwards, I just started Googling, almost like a.
You've never been allowed to do that before.
No, well, no, not this was more what does one do? What is the presentation of what she's doing here? Her actions. What does that say about a person? And I started using some words that I would describe her. And one thing I blame shifting. Allison is a big blame shifter. Take no responsibility. And one of the things that I found that kind of encompassed all of this was a little bit on the nose, but not where in my brain I was going. And what I have deduced is
A deduction.
it was a deduction is Allison has no self-worth, which I don't think any of us really can argue. Maybe you can in the chat, that's fine, but to me, I don't think she has self-worth. I think that was built into her from her father, and then she was placed into Viserys.
Which is why I think I was defending her for so
Absolutely.
long early.
Absolutely.
Because I agree
So
with
one
that.
of the hardest things for people that have no self-worth is you cannot be to blame. Because you're
Oh.
also self-preserving.
Because you didn't choose.
Because you can't be to blame because you want self-preservation. And if you can't be to blame, and if you are to blame, then you have hold on, sorry. If you are to blame, that makes you unlovable.
and
that-
you can't deal with that.
And if you're unlovable, then whatever worth you did have is gone. It's vanished. So you cannot admit a mistake
one you
or
want?
even a mistake within your children
You got a choice.
because it's easier to just blame shift. It is also a very triggering trauma response. So I will not be easier on Allison, but I can understand where she's coming from. It's a hard place to dig out of, and it's just sad. But she is somebody who just blames others, and she acts like this martyr of values.
Oh, and Kristen Cole is right there with
he's-
her of we are so just.
Yeah,
We are so justified.
He's your guys'
Martyrism?
favorite player, right? Favorite
Least-
character?
He's basically Jim Edmonds of this episode.
Jimmy Ballgame of the episode? Christian Ballgame?
I wish
Christian
he would stand.
Kristen
Christian
Ballgame.
Ballgame?
But because it's better to be virtuous and do all the right things than to be happy. It's better to be miserable and do the right things than to actually follow your own happiness. And the last thing that I really looked into was fear, as you use the word aggression. Fear is the number one most robust indicator of aggression in women. Now,
Do go on.
now, women and men don't necessarily, there's like all these studies starting in like the 1960s where they have really like physiologically like gone through whatever. And now men, what you would call like an assault or harm of another person, that aggression is so much higher for men. But actual aggression is when you want something or you wish upon somebody else that is harm is completely equalized. Now, how they get there is different, which I don't think I'm spitting any like amazing truths. But the number one indicator of a female aggression is going to be fear. I think Allison is in fear. Her kid was harmed. This is exactly what she's afraid of going forward, moving past, like her children being harmed. What is her tie to
or
this
their
line?
lineage being harmed.
Yeah, like what is her tie to this? Like once Viserys is gone, and he's no longer like, I'm sick of it. Your family.
She has no protection other than the.
Yep, and she's unraveling.
Club
She has no
sandwich.
protection other than the history saying that a woman cannot inherit the throne.
Yep. And it's just, if you just take it, what is it called? Not psychologically, but just like,
At face value.
yeah, like not I don't really know. There's a word that I'm looking for.
Metaphorically.
There's a lot of words.
Yep.
We know
One-
that.
One,
There-
one of
there-
the,
there
one of those
are-
fucking words. If you just take it as
It's one of those
face
words.
value is what we're going to go with here.
Face value.
We can see why Allison
could-
is behaving
I
the
could
way
look up
she
a
is.
synonym.
A cinnamon?
Cinnamon.
But I do not think that equates to a woman who is strong, and that is my biggest problem with her. Because she's defaulting to victim status. And I think her and Rhaenyra were very much on the same plane starting off.
But she blows up. And she loses her shit a lot in this moment, right?
Allison? Yeah, because
Yeah.
she's scared.
Yeah.
And Rhaenyra doesn't
And-
have that fear.
And she also has Damon behind her now.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a difference now.
Absolutely.
Because
I
she
think
also
she always had Damon behind her.
but he wasn't present.
No,
And
true.
she calls him out, you weren't here.
Yep.
You weren't here.
You were elsewhere.
And you wanted to be here,
wanted
but
to
you
be
were
here, but you're
elsewhere.
elsewhere.
That's everywhere. Yeah. Good Tyrion reference there. He drinks and he knows things, just like us sometimes. And I think it's important to show that, and we will move past this scene. I know we've spent probably 35 minutes on this scene now,
Sure.
as Benji's face precludes. But I think this is the meat and potatoes of
I
this
think so,
episode,
too.
for sure. And when
Oh, this little scuffle.
of this scuffle
I think I
is
call it
everything.
A fracas.
You can call it a ballyhoo if you want to, and
Valley High, I love you.
it comes down to a point where neither side really wins, but you get a lot of evidence as to who each character is in this moment, to some extent.
Yeah, and I think
Right.
at the end, like they kind of just like got back off, and you see like Damon with Rhaenyra's kids, and whoever, they almost got picked like two sides. Like there's a line drawn in the sand, and then each of the sides, like the greens and the blacks as they call them, they seem like they go to each side. Did you guys get that or no?
Sorry, I was laughing at
Yeah.
I'm hashtag
Mike-
Team
Mike's
Black.
moment.
There was a definite line in the sand at the end of the scene where, yeah, you had the greens and the blacks, for lack of a better term, which we get that description later. But yeah, they're all paired off, and I think even Viserys was on the black side at the end, like on that one. I think that was the most telling part of it.
Viserys was.
He was standing next to Rhaenyra with her cut hand. Like
Really?
it's that scene basically where, yeah, it's Viserys.
believe
They show Viserys with Rhaenyra and her cut hand, and everybody else, the High Towers and Coleslaw
Also,
over on the
like,
right hand side.
down the river is really dangerous. Like, that is not. What's his name's? Aemon's eye is less life threatening than that slice down her arm.
True.
Yeah, I mean that's what they,
Like, it's bad. It's a bad.
because you hit more veins.
Yep.
Right.
And you can't stitch
And also,
a long length.
how did Aemon just like show up completely stitched? Like, what stitch witchery was going on there?
Well, I think that was going on on the in
They've
between.
been working on him for.
I think that was like
I mean, it was
real
just
quick.
nice.
Maester Stitchwitchery.
Hey, they just got that little roll of
Right,
stuff
it was
out
just-
right before your first day of school. Iron it, done. Right?
What do you think Amanda Crowfoot's daughter would say about this stitch job?
Oh,
I don't know.
well done.
It's-
Friend of the show,
it,
nurse.
he's not going to be able to see
mean,
very
it
well.
was very-
Cotton.
It's a bold move. Let's see if Aemon One Eye can see
it was
well after
really
this.
Even.
It was a
great
it's gonna be a good look going up,
Hey.
and I think the next episode he's gonna be grown up. We'll see.
He's like a pirate. Pirates have eye
Hey,
patches
But
all the
what
time.
is a
Pirates-
pirate's favorite letter?
It's not R.
R.
You think it to be hard, but 'tis the sea he truly
Tis
loves.
the sea.
Let's move along,
Good
move
joke.
along, move along.
Glenn,
Dad
dog.
jokes abound.
Next
So I
scene,
need to
please.
Make a joke.
Yeah, next for jokes. Be thinking.
Be thinking.
OVH speaks with Alicent, who is disgraced by her actions. Otto agrees, but admires his daughter's determination to win at an ugly game. Ray gets her arm stitched as Lena enters, upset that he has not been there for her.
I think it's important to see this Otto von Hightower for those who don't know what OVH is. I think it's we've had a very coy version of this for a long time where you could argue that maybe he wasn't really pulling strings and maybe he was being called out for bullshit, whatever. He has absolutely been playing this. It's gotten worse over time. The gap where he wasn't there, his ambition has grown even further.
Do you think he was just sitting at
At the high tower?
just waiting for the phone call?
I think so. I mean, what
for
else the fuck is he
10,
doing? He's not
15,
he's not even the
20 years?
Lord. His older brother's the Lord of Hightower. His older brother's the Lord. And so he's got nothing else to do. He gets the call again. He goes, "Fuck yeah, let's."
I'm going back to the
He's
city.
been hanging out at the Quill and Tankard for 10 years.
Yeah,
Quill and
absolutely. Cool and Tankard pub trivia. There you go.
yeah,
That's
He's
a
been-
good bring back right there.
He's been making nasty soups.
Nasty poop soup loops. And this is like, I think, the most definitive scene that we've had with him where it's clearly he's not just being, a dad that wants his daughter to have something cool, right? The one other scene that we had was when he was leaving, he goes, "You fucked up. You chose Rhaenyra. You chose Viserys. You believed them." And right now he's saying, "You're still not doing enough. Like, you made a ridiculous move right here. Going after Rhaenyra, that was not a good choice. I love your
But
ambition.
Your mind's in the right place.
I love your ambition. Like, let's
Way to
Take-
finally show the
like-
fuck up.
right. It
Like
comes down
the
to
hustle is there. Like the hustle is there. Maybe the execution, not so much, but the
Good idea.
that. You had no finesse.
Good idea.
You had no finesse
Like,
on this
it was a
breakaway
good
that you
attempt,
had.
even though you popped out to the picture. Like it was a good cut.
You had a breakaway and you passed it to the goalie. Like, not a good move, but you took the shot.
You pass it into your own goal.
You miss 99% of the shots you don't take.
And I've heard that some people's family words are that.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of see that later in the story a little bit, but
We
Yeah,
hear
that's like
something
300
about
years from
family
now.
words
it's
here, though.
later in the episode.
200 years from
That
now.
should be
Oh,
our house name, or those should be our house words. That was such a burn. I should have been here. Is right in this. This is when that's
House-
said.
We'll be better in 200 years.
We'll be better in 200 years.
I'm
That'll be-
trying, Benj, over here.
That'll be
I'm trying.
Somebody's house words.
No,
Anyways,
you're right on that.
We'll get
mate.
better over time.
Go, take it away, Em.
so
Give us 200 years.
Those are my
Lanor
house
walks
names,
in
house
and
words.
he's like, "Oh my, abashed. How has this happened? Blah blah blah. I should have been here." And Rhaenyra's like, "Those should be our house words." If that is not telling, ouch, like that. And he's not like, "Oh, I'm offended," nothing. He takes it not because, "Oh,
But I
I'm
think that's
submissive,"
I
But
think that was also a slap to her. Like it was a very self-deprecating thing because she wasn't there either.
I think so. Like it very much was just, what are we doing? Like there was a whole conversation had or understanding had within that, just those should be our house words. I was like, ouch. Taking a hard look at who you are as a person, that's hard to do. It's rough. And as we move forward through this episode and through the scene, you see that I really love these two's relationship, who they are. I do think that, I don't know if this is this when Laenor like recommits himself to her or
Mhm.
to the family. Okay.
Yeah.
And I believe him. Like I
I
think
think he's bought in. Like
he's like,
I'm
you know
gonna
what?
do this.
I also-
Regardless of my own feelings, and I'm gonna sacrifice my things
Right.
for this.
Because this was our agreement and we
And I
went in
haven't
this
done it.
together. And these kids are the agreement we had together, whether they're mine, whether yours. And we also have a couple conversations about like their legitimacy, which obviously we know they're not. But I've also seen in some chats and in some online forums that like they never tried or he could never finish. But I don't get that he couldn't finish the times they
They-
had.
So that kind of goes into
That's
something I
okay.
had,
All right, go for it. Because what I heard didn't lead me to believe that a climactic adventure happens, like, or doesn't
It was
happen.
also we had made that kind of comment last week, and we weren't sure if they had ever tried or if it was
Yes, this
thing,
is
and this
solidifying.
this confirms that I just never took. The few times she says the few times we laid together, I wanted to bury your children. It just didn't happen.
Right.
And and it's nice to know that they actually did try. It just wasn't happening. And I didn't take the what didn't happen as he couldn't finish. It was it just didn't
That-
take. He did his duty, and it just didn't take.
That was my question. Was
Yeah.
because how I took it was they tried, they just didn't happen to get pregnant at that time.
The seed wasn't strong.
Well, it just the seed
Well,
didn't.
it wasn't strong.
It wasn't.
It wasn't
As strong
strong.
was he?
It wasn't strong
Yeah,
as a
it
seed.
wasn't strong.
Sorry, that was
It
completely.
did, there was no
unintentional.
germination. Okay.
Yeah, let's see the Punnett squares.
You asked me to write a limerick. I'm gonna need to know.
In
exactly what
general,
that is.
though, I did like Laenor being like, I'm gonna send Carl off. He's gonna go back to the Stepstones, and I'm here. I'm gonna try to make this happen.
Yep.
And yes, you can have your Walking Dead joke if you want to.
Coral.
Coral. But I liked seeing Laenor leaning into like, I know this isn't like, I need to do my job to not fuck this up for both of us a little bit, right? Because things are bad right now.
Yeah.
Not necessarily between them, but the overall projected view of what's going on around them. And he takes that on himself a bit of saying he wasn't there to do enough to show that, hey, they're not just bastard children, because he cares about these
Yeah.
kids. He does look at them as his children. He knows that they're not, but he's there. And I think that's pretty big of him to do his job, and he's buying into doing his duty. And we move forward from there to find something else that happens, but good on him, in my opinion.
Sure.
I
To
agree.
me, he's doing the thing to make it happen for his wife that he agreed to, that maybe he wasn't as bought in as he should have been the whole time. And he's calling himself out on those things, that I should have been there more. Because people are talking, and it's not good for us as a group.
Yeah, he's just never there. Especially now, she's gotten a little cut action on her arm. That whole like fracas,
And he
He's
wasn't even
nowhere.
there for that.
right?
He wasn't
So a
even
lot
there.
of these like big things and big like arguments, she's just like he's not there. And I think it's like a little bit of admission of guilt that he has. That I'm sorry about it. Yeah, sorry.
And I do
I'll be
think
better.
he's an honorable guy, that he probably wanted to be a dad. He probably wanted that in some capacity. He wanted to trade to transfer on his name and his lineage, his lordship onto somebody.
Mhm.
I think that's maybe something that he really cared about, because Corlys, his father's one of the more ambitious people that we know in the realm. He's got those genes, and he would like to pass those on. But
At the same time, he's not Corlys, though.
he's
too.
definitely not Corlys. I would say he's a much better man, a much better husband for husband's sake. I don't know. It's tough because we don't see it.
We're not there every
He's
day.
a very different person than his father, I think is what we can leave it at. He's a
Sure.
very different person.
Yep. So, anything else? Or?
Are we about to head to our final scene?
No.
No?
I don't
We
think
got a little bit more?
We got one more.
A little more part of that. Okay, we got Club Sandwich.
Yeah, we got a little club sandwich action coming up. So,
Oh man,
Let's
tell
just
us
go to
more
that.
about Club Sandwich.
as folks depart Driftmark, Ray and Day discuss the sea as an escape. She later proposes to him, a problem as she still is married. Club Sandwich offers his service to Allison. So I guess I'll just start off.
Yeah, absolutely,
Um,
please.
It just seems like kind of the Targaryen. They just kind of do what they want, especially like Rhaenyra, Damon. They kind of do what they want. They kind of choose their own path, so to speak, or whatever. In this, there's I mean, not foreshadowing the final scene, but like they're just kind of like making the blueprints, I guess, for what's going to happen next with Sir Laenor or whatever, and their relationship.
It really puts it in the light that she's asking Damon to kill him, right? It's really leaning towards,
Right.
hey, we're gonna pay off Sir Carl, to go and just kill.
Before we get
Kind of fix the glitch.
there's still a little.
Am I
jumping,
rushing, Benj? Am I rushing? I'm sorry.
Still a little jumping. The more important part of the Damon and Rhaenyra scene in this part is her basically admitting that she needs him. She needs him on her side. She needs him with her. And this is the first official time we get the Hightower side called the Greens. She says specifically, I need your help against the Greens. I can't fight them alone. And it's
The Green Bay
she's like,
Packers.
and we're meant to be together. It's always been. And he says, yes, but Laenor has to die for that to be possible. And she kind of says, would that be the worst thing? And then we progress
Yes.
onto. But the biggest takeaway was her owning up to everything that's basically been said through their sexy beach time and all
Yeah,
that.
she's basically saying that Laenor is expandable, right?
Yeah.
I think the word's expendable,
I know.
but yes,
I like expandable better.
you could choose.
Let's go with that.
Yeah, and it's, again, like, I love how, we were just talking about how much Laenor has tried, but even it seems like he doesn't really want to, but he's giving himself to a sacrifice to the family, right? And even after that moment, now we see Rhaenyra saying, this would be so much easier if my husband wasn't here, right?
Yep.
It's like, that's pretty cutthroat. It's pretty mafioso feeling. Am I wrong? Like, it's very much, well, let's cut the fat and let's get to the goods that we want that's better for us, for the family. Am I wrong there,
This is
Benj?
the part no, you're not. This is the part they're graying Rhaenyra. They made you, she was respectful. She was, she was the badass. She stood up to Alicent and she
But
did all
she's done
this,
a
but
lot of
now-
wrong too. She's done a lot of wrong too.
I
Already.
know, but like she has, but this is the reminder of like at this part, oh wait, she's still gray. Remember, she's not, she's not good or bad right now. Remember, you don't know. So this part's to make you think, oh, okay, yeah. So damn, that's cold, kind of thing. And that moves us onward onto the last bit, unless Abby has.
I don't even know what we're
Something
speaking
should-
about. Can you give me just a quick overview?
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
So,
Club. Go ahead.
as folks depart Driftmark, Ray and Day discuss the sea as an escape. She later proposes to him, a problem as she still is married. Club Sando offers his service to Allison.
So
I
they're
mean-
they're talking about she wants him, but she still has Laenor.
Yeah. You know, the only thing that I have, like, we're gonna do this in time.
Copper, take it away.
My note is, was Laenor just a sacrificial ham all along?
Like I said, he's expandable.
Mr. Narrow Sea himself has left. He is the only expandable person I know. But
Pretty sure that was a me thing.
was that you?
I'm pretty sure it was a me thing.
There was a purple van involved. Don't
Are
worry,
you
I'm
sure?
expandable.
I'm pretty sure that was me.
Oh,
Expand-
It
sorry.
was a misspoken. Yeah.
It was very funny.
Expendables are the right.
I'm
term.
expandable.
I like expandable better, so we're gonna go with that.
Nothing wrong with being expandable. But
Except
I was
when your mom will never forget it.
yes.
When you missay a thing.
One
How many
time.
things that I start the episode with and I missaid, I'll never live those things down either. There you go.
Hashtag blame Luke.
Hey,
Yeah, you
Please.
said something along the lines of, "I'm Luke, I'm a douchebag," and or something. I
But
don't
this
know.
is
and I
before,
still
like,
believe it. I
The
still believe it.
you're not. Don't believe those things. The things you say in your brain become.
I will prove everyone wrong.
Oh goodness. This is before like any melee happens, right, Benj?
Yep.
Okay,
oh,
cool.
for sure. Yeah,
All
yeah,
right,
yeah.
then we can move
Juan
along.
Yepes.
Juan Yepes. Yeah, don't do that right now. Not now.
Sorry.
Not now.
Next
I should know
scene.
better.
Enter Glenn.
Enter Glenn.
Stage left.
The final scene,
Is
right?
every episode we have one of these, and this just happens to be this episode's final scene.
Final scene,
Cheers, everyone in the
Yep.
chat. Thank you all for being here and
like-
enjoy this final scene with us.
Also, like, don't forget about try to think of a
Brought
good
to you by alcohol.
try to think of a good title. You know, if you
Oh,
can.
yeah.
You know,
Glenn,
episode
Glenn doing the good things. Yeah, if we are opening the door to naming our episodes, so if you have a good episode title for this,
it just has
Please
to be.
put it in
It
the
has to
chat.
be Driftmarky Mark.
it's gotta
I
be
don't agree, but you know, I mean, I do. I like it.
I mean, try. That's what you need to aim for.
right now.
Yeah.
That's the default. That's
Uh,
the default.
Funeral.
Let's-
Not Viserys. Surprise.
Funeral, not
Unexpectedly, not Viserys.
either way,
And actually, kind of
Cheers.
exactly expectedly, because we
This is
saw the
actually
Death
really
Fest
good.
episode.
Glendog,
All right.
final scene.
Final
Tell us about
scene,
it.
We have
Broken boat sex. Broken. Sorry. Phil, Phil.
Good job. Damon meets with Sir Carl in the harbor, gives him an offer he can't refuse. Sir Carl betrays his bud Laenor. Corlys and Rhaenys find a burned body, presumed to be Laenor. Ray and Day are wed. Two men escape by sea.
So, Glendog.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this media, like I've seen like references to this whenever Damon is like up to no good or whatever, he has his
He
like
started making
put
trouble,
up like kind of like Assassin's Creed.
making trouble in my neighborhood.
We've Ezio Auditore, whenever he's up to no good, he puts his hood up or whatever, and
He had one
he's
little fight,
wheeling and
and his mom
dealing.
got scared.
But this is what we see
Mhm.
here with Sir Carl. He gives him the offer he can't refuse. They're in the harbor or whatever, and they're kind of talking, but he has the hood up, so you know that he's kind of up to no good.
He's being
Expandable.
Lord Fleabottom right then.
I was gonna say expandable.
Anytime the hood's up, Lord Fleabottom.
But doesn't he kill somebody right here?
No, well,
Damon?
Yep.
he does.
Yes.
Yeah, he
Who
kills
is that? Is that just a guard? Or...
sacrificial.
Oh.
He's a ham.
He's a
he is that sacrificial hams. That we got to
To
get
the
that one.
hams.
That is the most sacrificial ham we've seen of this
It's
entire
just
season.
like
Benji, that one's for you right there.
unnamed guard.
100% the most
But
sacrificial
Damon
ham.
kills him, right?
Yeah.
We're led to believe that
That's-
that's Damon
I
on
think
the
that's what
stairs,
That's
right?
what they use.
This hood.
This whole like trickery or whatever. This whole Texas switch.
It's supposed
they
to
do.
seem like, oh, he
They
kills.
I think they burn this guard or whoever he is.
I
They
agree.
burn him and then it's presumed to be Damon because at that point when the
Well, now
body's
you're spoiling it. No,
You're not.
but no,
it's
but
the
that's
final
what,
scene.
I know.
All things are on the
Come
table.
on.
and the points don't matter. But for real, like that's what happens, right? It
Yeah.
comes down to he kills this sacrificial ham to give this out for Carl and Laenor, right? And they
And
get a
have
happily
their
ever
little,
after.
They have their little battle.
They
That's just kinda
they do it in
as a
front
viewer,
of witnesses.
at the
In
yeah,
front of witnesses, which was important.
right.
That
And
was
that's-
mentioned, like literally
That was specifically
stated.
said, I need you to do this in front of witnesses. And they set this whole thing up to, I'm going to put a body in the fire, but you guys need to make it look like you guys were fighting and he kills Laenor. That Carl kills Laenor.
I just think it's crazy by the time. So this kid's the guy that Damon kills, I guess, because I guess he's thrown in the fire. He's like completely burned to where you can't like identify who.
He may have been pre-burnt.
You think so? Like he could have just been
I mean,
staged.
For time-wise,
Yeah.
I
from a
would
cleanse
say it's safer to pre-burn him and then throw him in the fire, like just to not give any chance of it not burning enough before somebody finds out. Like that's just
And I think,
safer.
I think that's what Rhaenyra was saying to Damon is like, we need to pre-burn him, and then because they're gonna know.
Mikey Too Hard it
So
says
my-
it's
my
Coral,
only
not
problem
Carl.
with this
It's actually Carl with a Q,
Coral.
as it's actually Qarl.
Coral.
Like Coral?
Coral.
Like the
Carl.
fucking professor?
It's Carl with
That's
a
what-
Q.
That's what.
Carl with a Q.
No,
It's-
from
it
The
is.
Walking Dead. That's what he. I mean, that's how
Coral?
he said.
Coral.
I get it.
Really keep
I'm pretty sure this is a Q.
Technically correct is
Yeah,
the
it's
best
with a
kind
Q.
of correct.
And it makes me a douche the whole time. I know.
But you've always been, so it's okay.
I live that way.
Subtitles say Q. So
I live that way. Good scene.
So my
I
only-
mean,
Ben-
my only
bench,
problem with this
bench.
scene,
Yeah.
yeah, is so I liked it, and yeah, it took me a few seconds to like kind of figure it out and everything. Like I knew it was later on the thing, and I was like, okay, great. I wish they wouldn't have spoiled the Damon just randomly killing a guard thing, and maybe left it a bit more
Ambiguous? Is that the word you're looking
Yeah,
for?
I mean, I still like the reveal. I still like the reveal.
What
at
are you,
the
Ace
end.
and
Let us
Gary?
know-
Look at you.
I couldn't spell it
You
if I
know,
needed to, but you know.
I still like the reveal of Laenor at the end, but I
amphibious.
kind of wish they would have just done it without the Damon kill scene, and then reveal Laenor like, oh shit, okay, what happened? And then maybe have that be a storyline later for Damon to have to explain, or something along those lines. Instead of in that one, it's almost a don't show and don't tell kind of thing until the end, because it does. Granted, it's a minute and a half,
Yeah.
but it's a minute and a half of fuck, okay, but you already know that probably some shenanigans are up.
Well,
I
Well,
completely
don't
get
know.
that. I completely get that point. But I like that now we can just let the Laenor thing go. He's
And that's
gone
fine.
into the wind,
Yeah.
and he got his happy ending. In my opinion, he got,
Oh no,
A
I was
happy
fine
ending.
with the Laenor part. I
And-
was fine with that.
and I get it could lead to questionable things for how can Damon and Rhaenyra do this? Like, were they a part of this? Or am I misunderstanding what you're saying, Ben?
No,
I'm sorry.
I think you're missing under. My whole thing was I wish I was smart enough to write it this way. I can't figure out how to write it where you don't have the Damon killing the guard scene. I want that left ambiguous. to the
okay.
point
I
of
just
not
I kind
making
of like that
Damon-
they just went to it and they just put the bow on it. For me, I just like that
I
they
get it.
put the bow on it.
I mean, it goes off without a
and it's
hitch.
not even like a saving Damon's character.
This
It's
whole
more
thing.
of a, it's more of a, just, I don't know. Like
Let- Can
It's
I be
the
the
spoil of the review. It's the same shit I say about Stephen King spoiling his own endings, spoiling the twists before you get to the twists.
Yeah, but this is like a micro
And
version of
do
that
the
to where like
twist.
this is a micro story. Let's just get it done.
I get it.
Can I
I
be
get
your
it.
like
I'm not fighting you.
quintessential?
Can Abby give a dumb?
Yes,
dumb,
exactly. Like, thank you, dumb. No, I'm your
No,
quintessential. Yeah,
Can we
thank
get
you.
a Gertie perspective,
No,
please?
like I feel like whatever.
I will never shit on you. I'm sorry.
Hey, no, you're good. I would never believe it if you did anyway. So
I
fuck
didn't
you.
mean that.
No, so I feel like I am the quintessential target audience of just a show watcher. Like, I don't know the lore so much. I'm very much more versed in it now after what we've been through together. But Damon killing whoever this sacrificial ham to me, in my mind, it happens. I'm like, who's that? He died. Cool.
Who the
It's Game
fuck
of
was that
Thrones.
guy?
Like, not a problem.
Just some guy.
People die left and right. And then the whole Lenor thing happens, and I'm like, what the fuck? And they're burnt, and we see Corlys, we see Rhaenys, and I'm like, immediately.
Did you buy into that they
Yes.
just killed him?
Yes.
I gotta be
That's
honest.
what I'm saying. Like,
I did too.
I
I gotta be honest. I did too.
Yeah, I thought it was like a team effort. Like we're just gonna.
And
I
guess
I'll kill
immediately,
the
as
guards,
a
you
Game
kill-
of
I'll kill the
Thrones,
guards. You kill Aemon.
knowing what I know, was starting to
Or Laenor.
justify for Rhaenyra, because I'm like, apparently team her at some point. Like, well, like, you know, hard choice. Like, literally in my notes, it's like, you know, sometimes you have to make those hard choices. Being a leader, I'm immediately justifying how do we get out of this. So I'm
I
not
will
saying
kill
that you're
any of you.
wrong for saying
No, I
David,
won't.
because that was like
I
a
didn't say that.
giveaway, but it didn't give it away so much to me, not knowing that I realized that this was a ploy until we get to that part. It didn't spoil it for me.
and in fairness, in the first time watch through, it didn't spoil it for me either.
Yes.
Because the way I read the scene originally, and this is me more just second guessing now because I knew what was coming, and then rewatching it, it bothered me on the second watch through, because I knew it was coming. First time I watched it, it was Damon killed that guard, so now the only people, the close person that the kid can run to, you know, in time to save Laenor was out of the picture. So that's the first way I watched it, because it's he kills him, then Carl's in the, you know, fucking throne room, and they go into it. The kid runs away, so he doesn't have somebody close. Damon's working with him, but he needed a witness for Carl. So I bought into it. I thought he was really dead. I didn't buy the spoil. I don't feel like I was spoiled the first time through. I just am the type of person that I would have preferred the Ocean's 11 style rework of this is how we did it.
If you'd like to do a podcast on that, I've never seen that either. Sorry, any of them ever.
fair. But
The-
so
the
I'm just
Oceans.
I'm being honest. Like and I should say anger. I'm just like, I wish I was smart enough to rewrite it in that sense of where it can make sense in the Ocean's 11 kind of reveal. I would like that better, but I wasn't spoiled for me on the first time through until the end. I mean, you figured it out at the end.
I had to watch it through a few times, and because I was like, it was also one of those whenever they like run onto the boat or whatever. It was kind of dark too, and I was like, "Who the fuck are those two guys?" Like it just, but then like, oh okay, it's Laenor. He just has his hair cut off and stuff like that. And then I guess that other guy was the other guy, but
Real Grey Worm vibes.
I saw a thing about that.
Did you?
Yeah,
I didn't
I
see-
saw.
Ooh, yeah.
And I am doing so much effort not to listen to other people and see other things, but I saw a thing where it was just side by side.
It was. I didn't-
Laenor in the boat going away with his hair shaved. 300 years later, it was just gray worm
they
next to
look-
him.
I didn't see that.
worm.
Gray worm. We haven't had that joke in a long time. Oh man. Yeah, but it got me. It got me.
Did it-
I
did it
was.
get ya?
You know, as Glenn would say, yeah, it did.
One way or another.
What was this? Rugrats. Watch
That's-
your.
hey,
Watch your. Oh,
That is the only reference of that song I understand.
congratulations.
It is only Cynthia.
I know. Who was not a bad character.
It's not Cynthia. It's Angelica.
It's Angelica.
Cynthia's
Cynthia
her
was her
doll.
friend.
doll.
Was the
It's
doll.
a doll.
The
Yeah.
doll.
Angelica, not a bad person.
Cynthia, not a bad
She had
person.
not
She's
present
actually a doll.
parents.
She didn't have present parents.
That's what it comes down to.
And poor Chucky. Just saying.
Who do you like better, Angelica or Cynthia?
Angelica.
Who's better?
Angelica, she's a real person. So
You don't like fake people?
Can we also speak about, before we get along here, I have been in the chats and stuff for
I've
different
been trying to,
motives.
but then John
No,
and Ghost is
no.
here, and good grief.
Not this chat. I mean, I have tried to be in this
You've
chat
been
here.
in
'cause I
a
love it.
different chat, you
No,
cheater.
I have been trying to listen up because I am like stalking somebody right now. So if you'd like to know who I'm stalking,
Become a patron at Patreon.
And I'll tell you, because we're gonna cancel her. But anyways, she's a real normie. I've been monitoring. Anyways,
man, because we don't.
yeah.
Okay, wow.
Anyways,
Wow, I didn't know anything about that.
Oh yeah, I've been monitoring. I've been looking for. I'm looking for you, Nikki. Anyways,
Stop it.
so
You're too far.
I know it's okay. Anyways, one of the things that I thought was really interesting in some of the chats that I've seen is Corlys's reaction to this has led some people to believe that he is in on what's going on, because Rhaenys,
As to which part?
like, as to Lenora being dead, Lenore. So
Lena, or Lenora. Lenore.
Lenore,
Sorry.
yes.
Okay.
So they're saying that, like, the consensus is that Rhaenys' reaction is like absolutely believable, and just a mother like,
But
what?
he
But he is like,
deeper.
how could this have happened? Like this deep, like booming.
Reptar
I am
comment. There you go.
not reptile. The Finster. I am not claiming this as my own. It's just an interesting point that I didn't get through this, but they're saying that Corlys's reaction was like kind of, you know, when you listen to like 911,
over the top.
like 911 calls, it's not as you expect, and nobody can say how they would react in this situation, but they're saying something's off, like possibly he has also been let in. So I don't know. That's just food for thought. That's all.
Yeah, I could buy into that. I think Rhaenys' reaction's completely genuine. Corlys is a bit over the top, but again, it's hard to gauge. But I wouldn't be surprised by that.
I would. It's not my own thought. Like, I'm not going to take it as my original own thought. But when they said it, I was like, oh, I could see that. Like, rewatching it, that I'm like, ooh, okay, cool. So that was AK's stream the other night that I heard that on.
She's the worst.
Gotcha.
Alicia Kingston. Let me
Great
tell
human.
you. Just she might be one of the best humans I know, and that's the fucking worst. No, she's wonderful. Check out everything she does. She's a beautiful human, and we love her as a sister. How about Ray and Damon finally tying the knot? Can we talk about that? Are we there now?
I think we're there
Are we
now.
there?
We can talk about that.
Like,
It was
Is
a
it
wedding scene.
in
It was
secret?
fine. It was weird.
They cut their lips.
I mean, no. Think about
Never.
like the feeling from his daughters and her sons.
They're like the
Literally,
only ones that
Nobody
were there.
gives a shit about his daughters, though. I mean, he doesn't. Their grandma
he
does.
don't. Yeah, see that really.
Well, I
does
think
bother me.
I'm
think
sorry.
the kids themselves,
it's-
they have this bond from, hey, we fought against Aemon that one time, and one of us stabbed him in the eye. So they got that
Right.
going. I don't know
Yeah,
if that
but, I mean,
helps or
both
not,
their
but
parents died, recently, and now their other parents are hooking up and tying the knot. It's just like, you think they're cool with it, it's just, I don't know, it's just odd to me that it's done so quick. I mean, I get it, and I know time's perception thing might not have happened right away. Could have been, whatever, but it's just like, just odd.
No, I thought you threw a timer's perception as like a big string theory thing on me right there.
Oh, man.
You went like to
Time
me.
is perception.
Oh my god, I was like
He was in for
I
it.
was 10 million miles from here.
Light years, you mean?
I know that's like not even a quarter light year, but
He's a burning star that dimmed.
we're all burning stars that burned out so quickly. Okay,
Just like Mufasa.
Hail Zeno.
just like Mufasa.
Really?
So this is a pretty cool scene. Glenn, any thoughts on what we got going on here?
With the wedding?
Yeah, with
Like I said,
or did you
like I said
think it was
earlier-
bullshit with the cutting the lips, sharing the blood?
I mean, yeah.
A little bit. I mean, as far as like a little.
It feels bullshit.
I mean, I don't really know the customs of weddings, especially
It
like.
was the
But,
first
Glenn, you've been to
Targaryen.
more weddings than any person I've ever
I've never
known.
seen that before, though.
You've never seen a Targaryen wedding.
No,
Wow. Why are you on our show? What do you, I thought that was your thing.
because I write the breakdowns.
In the last
never mind
7
then,
years,
never mind then. It was
if
also
Glenn wasn't
Glenn's idea.
here-
It was also Glenn's idea to have this show. So
In the last 7
technically, he's
years,
the
if
overall
Glenn hasn't
creator.
been here, he's either been at a wedding or at softball. So I just take that as bullshit, Glenn.
Has he ever been to a softball wedding?
Probably.
No,
He has a lot of koozies to prove it.
especially this one. Piss light. That's how a lot of weddings go, it seems. Anyways, so you asked me a question about what did I think about this wedding?
About the ceremony.
I mean, they cut their lips. You know, there's only
Never.
like, and I've gotten cut like a cut.
It
on my lip.
hurts.
It hurts and it like doesn't heal.
It
right
stays
away,
a long
like,
time
you know.
because it's a very moisture sensitive area.
Right. You just feel that for days.
Am I wrong?
You know.
As somebody who gets, well, as a child, would get like those winter lips up top.
Oh God.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about? Like the overgrown.
I don't know
If
what,
that's-
what you mean by that.
Okay.
Winter lips?
Yes, like they
Sorry,
are
with the trumpet
so,
player. My lips always
no.
were fucked up.
They are so chapped that it moves beyond the lip
No.
and
okay,
up into
yeah.
the
Yeah, I
skin
mean,
above and around. You
I
got
know
like the.
there's times in like
If you ask me to cut my lip, I'm gonna say rather not.
I can feel
Cut
like
my
a
wrist,
couple
fine.
scars
Hand,
that I have
done.
on my lips right now from my lips getting cracked.
Yeah, no
and,
way.
you know,
That's some
So-
commitment. Is all I'm saying.
Is there a passion side to that, especially when your family name is
Are you supposed
family
to do
words
that, like-
are fire and blood? I mean, I'm asking.
But if
They should have
On
birthed
the- on the
themselves too.
lips, I
They
mean-
should have
Just-
birthed themselves too.
I'm just saying.
They
A
did it on the
blood
hand.
pact.
They started with the hand.
I'm cool with
They
that.
did the hand
right?
too.
They have to
Oh,
have-
they
It
did,
cut.
they,
They have
they
to
did
have
the
a-
lips,
20 different
and they did the
cuts.
hand too, and they did that.
What are the cuts that we not see?
It was
they
fine.
probably showed 97
Hey,
other cuts.
I don't want to
We're
answer
gonna
that
cut
question.
our foots.
I don't want to answer that question.
gonna
What
cut
other
our
cuts
knees
did
and
they
then we're gonna-
Let
we're
me
gonna bump our knees
just
together.
say this from a term
bump our knees together?
that I learned.
We're gonna cut our kneecaps and
We're gonna get a twisted MCL
Twist
together.
and shout. Come on.
Whoa, easy, chubby
Come on,
checker.
you little bird.
Come on, you little bitch,
Show.
and do the twist.
From this show, I've learned a lot of things. Drinks the nose here, and it's not really. It's like in the chats, we're like, "Ooh,
Oh,
Yeah,
the
this
chats
is-
are way smarter
this
than
is
our actual
canon."
show,
I'm like, what
for
the-
sure.
what does this is canon mean?" They're like, "Oh, like it's." I'm like,
For
"Oh."
the record,
a
real quick,
cannonball.
the chat is way smarter than our actual
I
show. Let's
just-
give them props.
I defer to them
thank you all for
at
being
all
here.
times. Don't worry.
It's embarrassing, but like, thank you all for being here and putting
But
up
you
with us
gave me
or
a
making fun of us,
term.
whatever it is.
You gave me a term one time that was like, "Yeah, Abby,
Once?
do you ship this?" And I was like FedEx, if it fits, it ships, or is that UPS? I'm like, what? So, anyways, thank you, chat, for informing that if I ship this, that means I agree with this relationship.
For
I
the
ship it.
record, Abby, as our first time watcher, it wasn't just the first time she watched our show. It was the first time she was
Went
a
on
part
the
of
internet, like literally,
any kind of social media,
absolutely.
human interaction in the 21st century.
No, I lived in the South, so there was a lot of grocery store interactions. But online, yes, our show was
like
the
I said,
first.
21st century.
Just call me Xenon, folks.
Yeah, of the fucking 15th century.
Anyways, I ship it. I love it. That's my only thoughts. I love this. I'm excited. Incest and all.
She's here for it. Okay, so let's talk about the episode title accuracy, Driftmark.
It happened there.
A lot of
Maybe
the
nowhere
opening
else.
scenes.
that's where they were at. Yeah.
The entire show was on Driftmark.
Or
And
off
the
the
boats
coast,
around-
or off the coast and in boats, right? Like, yeah, it's.
Or in shacks.
Boats and hoes.
I feel like it's one of the weaker ones, just in general, because
Just lazy.
yeah, and it's also a lot of these were put out early, and I don't know. Maybe there's a benefit towards not knowing what it is until
Sure.
it happens. Am I wrong? Like,
I just think like they didn't really like. We don't really
It
get a
wasn't-
whole big sense of
Driftmark wasn't the point of the. It just
The-
happened
the
there.
town- that's where it was. You could see like the castle. You
We could
see,
have
like, a
10
lot of the-
episodes called King's Landing. Right? I mean,
I just know that their lighting system is not very good.
and the lighting at Driftmark,
They just-
bullshit.
They just can't. Their budget is just not strong enough for.
It's
decent lighting.
really tough.
Not like
and
the
it-
Campfire Nights.
yeah, lighting for Campfire Nights.
And
Which
gliding.
if you are in St. Louis, or if you can get to the airport in St. Louis on October 29th, you're going to see a lighting show
I'll drive
that's
you.
at least worth
the airport.
$600, and it's gonna be better than some of these scenes. There's that. There's that.
Our lighting matches what we're actually doing.
There we go.
You'll
Wow.
see us, or you won't.
Or you'll
And
see
if you don't, then you weren't looking.
there might be too many buns. That
Dude,
you're just not going to see the band. because
if
there's
buns get in the way,
just going to be too many buns. I think.
I would like to have too many buns in the way. Description accuracy. All right, ready. The description of this episode from HBO was.
As the family gathers on Driftmark for a funeral, Viserys calls an end to infighting, and Alicent demands justice.
Justice.
I mean, those things happen. And more.
But wait, there's more.
What was that, Benj?
It was good.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. It sounded great, but it didn't come through the first time.
I know, and my voice is kind of
Shot. He's got your fall voice.
The sours aren't.
His
helping.
his fall voice is in full swing.
It is.
He's getting ready to go to Six Flags tomorrow with
Yeah.
homeboy upstairs right now.
The Brawler.
The Brawler.
Doodler, the Brawler.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into our favorite and or least favorite things. Glenn Dog, did you have a thing that you loved, or did you not like a certain spot?
I just didn't like the lighting in some scenes.
Was it pretty rough on
no,
you?
You thought it was awesome.
I just
But
didn't notice. No,
I
I didn't
didn't.
think it was awesome. I just didn't notice.
You loved it, and I did not. So
If I can be the asshole, I will be
You-
the asshole.
you can be the asshole.
I'm so fancy. The lighting was really rough.
For a few scenes, I mean, not the whole episode or anything like that, but there's a couple scenes where I'm just kind of like, what the hell is going on here? Like,
Were you squints?
I was squints, circa, the Sandlot days, where I made out with Wendy Peppercorn.
Yeah.
I had 9 kids.
But you wanted to be an L7 weenie?
That's what I wanted to be. Yeah.
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 Abby, favorite or least favorite thing?
I think my least favorite thing or favorite thing in here is Alicent. Mostly, like, I do not think she's a sympathetic character, and I'm sure maybe not our chat, but there will be people who
No, our chat's the fucking worst.
they're the best because they get it. But there are people who are like Team Green, Team Hightower, whatever. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand their points. But as I poorly tried to explain earlier, was this need of somebody who is abused or is whatever. She can't be wrong because she has no self-worth. She's been beaten down into this position, and now she is just so unlovable. And how much it's how easy it is for me to hate her. Yes, I hear Riverdance going on
What
up there.
the fuck is
But
going
how
on?
easy it is for me to sit here and cast blame and daggers at her, where she's just almost a victim of circumstance, and I cannot find compassion for her. Like, I don't like
You're
her.
trying, but you
I
can't.
can't. Like, then be tougher, be better. Quit being so delusional. And it's just not there. And that's not exactly what women who support women.
So
are
you're the
supposed-
bitch right now.
I'm a total cunt.
But you feel weird about that.
I do. Like,
Is
I
that
want
the
to
thing?
feel like bad for her and understand where she's coming from. And I
Because
can't.
there is sympathy in there.
There are people who have found it. And I'm like, girl, come on. And that's my least favorite thing. I don't like to be a woman hater. So
Is that you haven't found the compassion for Allison?
Yep,
Is that
absolutely. That's my least favorite thing.
Benji? Least favorite thing on this episode?
So we started off this episode with this character pining over a love that he could have. He then finds the thing he most wants and claims it, gets scorned because of it, and still owns the fucking episode. Aemon goddamn Targaryen, the one-eyed prince, he fucking killed it. He first talks about, wishing that his mother had betrothed Helena to him because he would love her, right? He could accept her. He could, he then sees Vhagar off in the distance and hears her and goes and finds and fucking takes her like he's supposed to, like he should. It's his goddamn right to do because he can. Stands up to 4 attackers, defends himself, gets blindsided and, crippled, and still comes off like a badass. Doesn't lie to his father, owns up to everything he did, and comes out ahead. Aemon won this fucking episode.
To follow that up with my favorite thing is Aemon One Eye, who did everything fucking great.
Yep.
And he gets Vhagar. He gets the biggest dragon in the realm. The largest, the oldest dragon. Fucking Queen Visenya's dragon.
No one's making fun of him now. You know?
Guess what? No
He-
one's ever going to talk
Remember
shit
that
on.
pig that I had?
Yeah, oh yeah, guess what?
The pink
They'll be
pig.
fucking killed.
You can
And
jack-
no one's going to talk shit on him
You
at
can
all.
jack off
It
on your
wasn't
dragon
just
if you
a
want.
W, it was a capital W.
And he even says
It
it,
was a
of
statement.
losing an eye. Pretty good,
Easy
pretty
price to
good,
pay.
pretty
Shout
good
out.
price to pay.
It's a
And shout out to Helena. I want a dragon. He'll have to close an eye.
Ooh,
I did make that comment.
yeah.
I alluded to it when she made that comment.
And-
So
And kudos to you, Benji, of pointing out where he's saying, I would marry Helena right now because I would treat her right.
mhm.
I think that's going to be an important thing moving forward. We'll see how things go.
Sure.
Any other final thoughts before we move along on this? All right.
No doubt.
So, are we on final thoughts?
Yep.
Here we are. Good grief. Hey, Abby, can you tell us about another podcast that may or may not be on Drawbridge Media?
So you can check out the podcast that floats down here. It is a Stephen King. First, we did a reread of It. You can go back in time and check out all those episodes. That's a super fun, cool one. And then
Super fun. Cool.
it's a super fun, cool one. And I guess I should say haunting and scary and all those things, blah, blah, blah.
oh my God. It's
But
October,
it
so
has
we should
evolved.
be creepy.
Yes.
it's Russell Crowe.
It has
Oh my
evolved
God.
into a
It's October Crow.
read of Stephen King books throughout the year. We have covered things like my favorite,
Which one was your favorite?
Dolores Claiborne.
It's
Oh,
probably the best book he's ever written.
Like,
What a great book.
Yeah.
and if you can listen to that on
it's
it,
up there. It's up there.
I love
up-
Dolores
it's-
Claiborne.
it's
It's a
up
great
there.
one. But
Oh man.
the cast of that one goes
Glenn
through
knows.
multiple books. They review it, they cover it. If you like it, read it, listen to it, and all his other catalog of host of books. And check us out on the podcast that floats down here.
And you can find all of those on Drawbridge Media. Check
Bingo,
out the
bango,
playlist. Bingo, bango, bongo. Being happening in the jungle. Abby, can you walk us out with your house name, house words, and final thought?
I am Abby, aka Gertie of House Condescension. My words are we don't quit. My sigil is a field of white with a raven sitting upon a black Up.
It's the first time we've done
Pointed
this.
chevron. And my final thought is I feel like we're through the prologue and I cannot wait.
You're feeling good about it.
Like, yes, I feel like we have got all the background knowledge and things that we need for a very disruptive, crazy story.
So you're here for the dysfunction.
Always.
Glendog.
My house name?
Let's do it all.
Glen of House Dog. House words, you miss 99% of the shots you don't take. House sigil is a doggo with a jersey on, number 99, representing Wayne Gretzky. Final thought, I have to pee.
Ooh,
This was a run-of-the-mill episode. All right, bye.
get her done.
My name is Luke of House Blackmaid, and my family words are ours is the drink. And we have an obsidian black chalice on a house of blue and gold checky background. I think.
It's Checky.
And my final thoughts are I love seeing the descent between the greens and the blacks. It's good. They made it bad, you know? They made it a bad thing. And it's dirty, it's nasty, it's ugly between these families, and I love seeing on top of that Aemond earning Vhagar regardless of anything else.
If I'm going to be bad, I'm going to be the baddest
I'm
bad.
gonna be the best bad that there is, and they're doing a lot of bad on both sides. Benji.
I might be bad, but that's okay. Try to think of the record, Ralph. All right. I am Ben, aka Slive House McLean. House words are it is dangerous to drink alone. Take this. My sigil is 3 black triangles on a red balloon. Final thought is of all of the episodes this was one of them. No, it was actually it was a good, intriguing episode. The lighting was kind of shit at parts, but that's probably just on how you watched it. I understand that. But besides that, it was a good episode. I enjoyed it. I am excited to see these last few episodes of the season. I want to see where they end up by the end of the season and what they're going to build to next season and all that. I think the cast next episode is the final jump in time that we get for the most part, at least the last jump for new characters. This is going to be the last set, and what we see next episode is what we're going to get, which kind of sucks because I like the Aemon kid. I liked his actor. I like the Aegon kid. He's a fucking dickhead you want to punch, and so it's like I enjoy those actors just like I liked the young Rhaenyra and young Alicent. So it'll be good to see, but yeah, I mean, it's a fun episode and just excited to see where it goes.
You can follow us on Twitter at Know and Drink. You can support us as a patron on patreon.com/stayimaginary. For all the other ways you can help support our team and keep our beer bank full, you can check out thepodcastthat.com/support us. You can send us a digital raven at Instagram, which is, I gotta be honest, probably the quickest way to get a hold of us right now. Instagram seems to be the most reliable thing that we're using. Know and Drink at gmail.com. Subscribe, like, rate, and leave us a comment on iTunes, on Drawbridge Media, or on the podcast that. And make sure you check us out on YouTube at our channel, drawbridgemedia.com. Please subscribe. And until next time.
As always, I still don't know, so I'll just drink.
As always, don't turn your back on the wolf pack.
Benji's muting himself for some reason.
As always, winter is coming, and so did Damon finally.
And as always, it's going to take me a second because for some reason OBS is messed up.
Right.
But as always, stay imaginary, and I'm going to click buttons until here we go. as always, stay imaginary. Thank you all for being here. Pew, 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 pew,
Thanks,
pew,
guys.
pew, pew,
As always,
pew.
I'm gonna look at OBS or whatever.
Say more. Be funny.